everybody out there in that 43-car field. What we want is that trophy. That's what makes it so difficult.
TNT Sports is live in Rockingham, North Carolina, as the Winston Cup Series gets ready for race number 23. It's a sunny but cool day in Rockingham, temperature in the mid-50s. With just 3 races remaining, Tony Stewart holds a 146-point lead in the championship standings. The command to fire engines now less than 6 minutes away. Tony Stewart cannot clinch the Winston Cup Championship today, but with a strong finish at the Rock, he could put himself in position to win it next week at Phoenix. But that's 400 tough miles away. And here are 3 tough guys to take you every mile. Alan, Wally, and Benny.
Okay, Bill, thanks. Here's something we don't have to look up. The track surface here at Rockingham is one of the toughest on the circuit on tires. And that excessive tire wear affects everything a driver and a crew chief do all race long.
Folks, you're going to be so tired of us talking about tires today, you won't be able to stand it. But that will be the story. Tires. And the keys to tire longevity are a good handling race car and a driver that takes care of those 4 black round things on the car. If that driver doesn't, he's going to spend much too much time in the pits.
That's right, Benny. And you don't want to spend too much time in the pits. These last 3 races, it's very important to have good pit stops, so the pressure is on the teams. This championship could be won or lost right now in the pits, so there's a lot of pressure on those guys.
And for championship leader Tony Stewart, a poor starting spot today means, just as at Martinsville a couple of weeks ago, he has to spend the opening laps negotiating through the traffic and hoping he doesn't get any incident in front of him that causes problems. One of the toughest spots on this racetrack, BP, is turn 2, and that's the subject of EA Sports Thunder Motion.
Let's show you exactly what we're talking about as we go inside NASCAR Thunder 2003. Doesn't matter if you're high coming off turn 2, the wall still has a tendency to seem to just jump out in front of you, as it does our TNT car. Okay, we try the coming off the corner low. Let's try that. Still, the car pushes, come off the corner, and guess what? There's the wall. Got to avoid turn 2 wall if you have any chance of hoisting that winner's trophy this afternoon.
To take your own tour, log on to NASCAR.com and look for the EA Sports Track Flyby. Moments from the start at Rockingham today. Let's go trackside for the opening ceremony.
Race fans, we'd like to thank the members of the North Carolina National Guard as they will be unfurling the American flag here this afternoon. Currently, there are 1,000 members in the North Carolina National Guard serving on active duty all over the world in our war on terrorism. North Carolina National Guard has over 10,000 members, with most serving 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks a year. Money for college, adventure, and an extra salary, all from the North Carolina National Guard. Visit their website at www.1-800-GO-GUARD.com. And now please rise and remove your hats as the 4th Marine Corps Recruiting District from Raleigh, North Carolina presents today's colors. Please welcome the Director of Missions for the PD Baptist Association, Reverend Wayne Tuttle, as he delivers today's invocation.
May we pray? Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the beautiful sunshine. Thank you, Lord, for this event. Bless everyone here, the drivers, all who have a part. Guide and lead us. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Please join the North Carolina Speedway in welcoming Mercury recording artist Steve Azar as he sings our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched with so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
A special thank you to Mr. Steve Azar and that flight of 4 FT-15 Eagles from the 333rd Fighter Squadron base out of Seymour Johnston Air Force Base. And now please welcome back the director of Snacks Unlimited, General Mills, and today's Grand Marshal, Anton Vincent, as he gives the most famous words in NASCAR Winston Cup racing.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
Season of strange twists of plot. How will today's chapter in the NASCAR Championship story read? 43 drivers start spinning the tale next.
NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Rockingham, brought to you by Autotrader.com. Sell your car fast on the ultimate automotive classified site. By McDonald's. By Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. And by Walmart. Always low prices. Always.
Field of starters for today's Pop Secret 400, rolling from the pit lane of the North Carolina Speedway to begin their parade and pace laps before the green flag. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, proud to sponsor the Bud Pole Award given to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Winston Cup race this week. That's Ryan Newman, his 5th Bud Pole Award of the season, more than any other driver so far this year. Since 1979, Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $7 million as title sponsor of NASCAR's Pole Award program. And now the Walmart starting grid for today's race. Alongside Ryan Newman on the front row, Jamie McMurray, winner of yesterday's NASCAR Busch Series race here. Front row in his first ever Winston Cup time trial.
In row 2 on the inside, Todd Bodine, his first top 5 start since his Vegas pole, and Mike Skinner's best Rockingham start ever.
Championship contender Mark Martin, couple of wins here. He's in row 3. Jeff Green almost won yesterday's race. He's alongside.
Kurt Busch going for 3 in a row alongside Rusty Waller.
Robbie Gordon, Bill Elliott, back in row 5. Bill looking to kind of get over the midseason blahs he's had here lately.
Then we have a couple of Pontiacs, Bobby Labonte and Kenny Schrader in row 6.
Petty Enterprises next in row 7. Greg Biffle in the 44 car today.
Back in row 8 on the inside, Jimmy Spencer and Kenny Wallace, another Dodge on the outside.
Jeff Gordon back in row number 9. 4 wins in 19 Rockingham starts. He'll try again today. Matt Kenseth, Ricky Rudd, back in row 10. Matt, winner of the February race here.
On the inside of row 11 is Joe Nemechek. Great second place finish last week at Atlanta. Let's try to talk to, hey, Joe, Benny Parsons. You got me?
Yes, I do, Benny.
Great run last week in Atlanta.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a good day for a UAW Delphi Chevy, man.
Did it do anything for your future hopes in 2003?
Yes, I think that really helped.
But you have nothing to tell us right now.
We're getting really close, Benny. I think I'm looking forward to being in this 25 car, hopefully for a long time.
Tell us about today's race car.
Yeah, I think we're going to be pretty good. We changed a few things there towards the end of happy hour and made it drive a lot better, so I think we're going to do well.
We'll be watching, Joe. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Joe Nemechek set to go in a Hendrick Motorsports entry from 21st starting spot. He's the defending winner of today's race. A couple of recent Rockingham winners, Steve Park, Bobby Hamilton, way back in provisional land, as we look at the rest of the starting field as they get set to go 400 miles. Drivers who failed to qualify, a handful of them. Hideo Fukuyama, unsuccessful in his attempt in getting into his third NASCAR Winston Cup race. Stories on pit road before we go green. Marty, what do you got?
Well, Alan, everybody loves the underdog, right? Jeff Green is a very good pick today. He led 46 laps here in February, and he has the same race car today. If it comes down to long green flag runs, and it usually does at Rockingham, Jeff Green could be the favorite. Dave?
Well, Marty, the big news in Bobby Labonte's camp this week is that Michael Fatback McSwain has been hired as a crew chief for next year. But I had talked to Bobby about it, and if he was relieved, and Bobby said the biggest news is that he can work this year. He's with the team now, he's learning the system, and he will do so for the last 3 races of the season. Very important for Bobby's next year. Matt?
Dave, back in the spring, Ricky Craven started on the pole, but he couldn't sidestep the minefield of misfortune, finish a disappointing 5th. They brought back the same race car, but the same setup just wouldn't work. Confidence is high today. Alan?
Getting set to go at Rockingham. 393 laps around this 1.017 mile track for 400 miles. Ryan Newman leads him down to the green.
Ryan Newman looked like he, Jamie McMurray looked like he spun the tires like he did yesterday in the Busch race.
Could possibly have done that. At least we don't see that frantic dive to the bottom of the racetrack on the start of these races, because you can run high here about as fast as you can on the bottom.
Remember, championship leader Tony Stewart took the green flag in 24th spot. He's right in the middle of all the traffic.
Talked about it yesterday a little bit. This is when you can do some damage to your tires. Your air pressures are a little bit low. You want to be aggressive at the start. You got to be careful. These tires have got to last a long time.
On board with Todd Bodine, the Discover Card Ford. He's back in 3rd spot, trying to get by McMurray. Tries to drop under the back of that car.
And he's getting pressure from behind from Mike Skinner in the 4 car.
That yellow bumper on the back of the Coors Light car tells you that Jamie McMurray is a rookie. He has never raced at this track before in a NASCAR Winston Cup car. Used to that, we always said that said beware. There's a whooping up there, but anymore I'm not sure that's the case. Here comes Skinner.
3rd place here, Mike Skinner underneath Todd Bodine.
Mike looked high the lap before and didn't work for him, so got an opening underneath Todd there.
And Ryan Newman, the leader, has just checked out. We see him way up there going in the middle of 3 and 4.
From 2nd on back. Remember, pole sitter Ryan Newman got the jump on the brake. He's out in front, about a 2nd and 8/10 away from Jamie McMurray in the silver car. How about your championship leader? Where's Tony Stewart?
Right in the middle of things.
And that 91 car is Hank Parker Jr. His first ever NASCAR Winston Cup start.
26th place for Tony now. And Jimmy Johnson right there with him. One of the other championship contenders. Johnson, who had that tough race last week in Atlanta with the 2 spins that dropped him back farther behind Stewart in the championship. So what's Tony's mindset here?
Be careful. I mean, you know, he's got to get to the front, but he's got to be careful right now, especially at the start of the race when you're in this much traffic, like right there.
Little damage there to the left front fender on Tony Stewart's car.
Those are the things he needs to avoid.
Fenders are your friends, not when they're bent.
On these racetracks where downforce means so much, fenders are definitely your friend.
Tony racing Jimmy Johnson for 27th and 28th place. So he's actually lost a few spots in these opening laps.
Which it looked like at the starter right now, his car's a little bit loose. They probably want to start the car a little bit loose because this track usually gets tight. But you've got to be careful as you go along in this race here. You've got to be very careful on the throttle. You've got to really treat that throttle with a lot of care because it's so easy to wheel spin.
Here comes the three-peat candidate, Kurt Busch.
On the inside of McMurray, goes into the third position, trying to go to third.
Yeah, while we were watching Tony Stewart, Mike Skinner slipped by McMurray to pick up second. And there's Bill Elliott back in 8th.
And boy, Jeff Green has gone to the top about on the 3rd lap of this race.
He did the same thing in the spring, Wally, and guess what? It wasn't long till that AOL car was leading the race.
See, all these cars are trying to work the bottom out. They'll try to stay on the bottom of this racetrack as long as they can. But guys like Jeff Green and Michael Waltrip, they go to the top right away.
Whoa, Todd. There.
That's what's so great about this racetrack, is you've got 2 or 3 lanes over there in 3 and 4.
Green inside of Bodine for 5th place.
And he wants to get back to the top. Said, Todd, let me back to my groove, will you? I don't feel good on the bottom of this racetrack.
And now around McMurray, 4th place.
Don't jump to conclusions just yet.
On board with Mark Martin running in 7th.
When you're on that high line, normally you can run in a little bit deeper if you're on the high side like Jeff Green was doing. But you got to wait a little bit longer to pick up the throttle.
Okay, is that better? He is around him now.
That would be a pass. Now those other guys saw that and said, I think we'll try it up here.
Jamie McMurray, his first Winston Cup race here at Rockingham. He won yesterday's NASCAR Busch Series race and ran solidly all day long, but he's still feeling this out.
Yeah, these Cup cars are different animals than a Busch car. And he's doing a good job.
Now he's going to decide to move to the top and just see why all those guys passed him on the outside. What's the magic up on the top groove? Well, he did that, and Mark Martin goes by on the inside.
Mark picking up 6th place.
And his spotter may have told him, hey, why don't you try that high side? Everybody else looks like they're starting to move up there. So he may have got a little bit of a...
All right, so Mark is running 7th. Tony Stewart is 28th. Jimmy Johnson is 27th. That's how your top 3 in the championship stand in the early going. 15 laps complete. Ryan Newman has led them all for the pole. Mike Skinner runs right behind him by about 3 seconds. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Here's the Wendy's race menu. What's coming up as we follow the race for the championship on NBC and TNT next Saturday. NASCAR Busch Series racing from Phoenix featuring Wally back behind the wheel. Next Sunday's Winston Cup race also at 2 Eastern time, and then we wrap up the season in Homestead, Florida, noon Eastern time, November 17th on NBC. Looking at the riding with, I should say, the new 2nd place car, Kurt Busch now behind Ryan Newman. And check out this. Talked about the tires and the speeds and things.
Ryan Newman, his best lap was almost 150 miles per hour. His last lap, a little over 141, and Bobby Hamilton had just spun up in 3 and 4, and Mike Wallace has made contact, pretty heavy contact with him.
Caution is out, first one of the day. And Bobby came back down the hill right in Mike's path.
And that steam that we see in the front of the car means the radiator is broken in the Conseco car.
Get them tires up against that wall. I'm coming in for 4.
Guaranteed. Even though it's only 22 laps in. Although pit road is closed right now because, well, let's see. Is it going to be open? Pace car's got the field.
I think so, because those cars are a long ways from the entrance to pit road. So.
I was wondering if they were going to keep it closed because of where the cars came to rest, but he's got the green flag in his hand, the official there. So there we go.
There it is.
See what happened here.
Right-hand side of your screen. Watch.
There may have been a little contact there.
Got some help.
Hard to say. There seemed to be space between Michael Waltrip and Bobby Hamilton, but...
All right, everybody's in. Marty.
Jeff Green really fast on the racetrack, Alan. Tight on the bottom, he says. He likes to run that high lane just a little bit. Half pound out of the right front tire. Dave?
Kurt Busch has reported in that his car was a little bit tight in the middle, a little bit free off of the corner. They'll make an air pressure adjustment to correct that. Change 4 tires, fill it full of fuel. Bill?
Tony Stewart is on pit road. He just told his crew chief, Greg Zimbelli, as he was coming down pit road, check the grill. We just ran into the 28 on pit road. It looks okay. Under power, his car is too loose to drive. So it's a track bar adjustment and an air pressure adjustment. They will come out deep in the field here. Tony Stewart's going to have to find his way to the front. Matt?
Ryan Newman, the leader, came in first, left first. 1 round in the left rear, 1 pound in the left rear tire. Just too loose above the corner. The same characteristic this race car had in the final practice session.
And that loose off the corner, like I said, is real important getting off of turn 2. You just really got to slowly put the throttle down.
Under caution, Bobby Hamilton and Mike Wallace crashed in turn 4. Ryan Newman holds the lead through the set of pit stops.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
Here's our NASCAR Busch Series update. Wild finish yesterday at Rockingham. Coming to 2 to go. Jeff Green's the leader. Michael Waltrip trying to get it from him. Little contact. Waltrip can't hang on after they brush together. And Jamie McMurray, would you believe, slides through from 3rd to 1st and gets the victory. Both drivers from Owensboro, Kentucky, longtime friends, not really happy with each other when it was all over. Jeff thought it was Mikey's fault. Michael thought it was Jeff's fault. One of them racing deals, huh?
There you see the top 5. Biffle was 2nd. Well, LaJoy 3rd. There's the point standings.
Big jump for Greg Biffle at his point lead. Craftsman Truck Series results yesterday at California. Ted Musgrave with the win. Tightened up their championship as they head to their final couple of races at Phoenix and Homestead. And we're back underway. Green flag. Ryan Newman's team held the lead through pit stop. Jeff Green is 2nd, Mark Martin 3rd, Mike Skinner 4th, and Bill Elliott is 5th, followed by Jamie McMurray, Todd Bodine, Kurt Busch, Rusty Wallace, and Jeremy Mayfield.
And Jeff Green right now, that 30 car put some heat on Ryan Newman for the lead.
Yeah, that's heat.
That's heat. Marty, what's Bobby Hamilton having to say? What happened down in 3 and 4?
Well, BP, you can't see all the damage in the back end. There is a lot of it. And they got the fuel filler neck as well. They'll have to replace that. Bobby, a little early to be in the garage. What happened?
I didn't hear anything you said. I don't really know what happened. Maybe if y'all seen the replay, you can tell me, but I don't know what happened. I had a very good race car, perfect race car. I was looking forward to a good day and just turned around.
All right, a lot of noise down here, as you can tell. Work going on behind the car. They thought they had a car that could win today, but he's in the garage early.
Mike Wallace has also driven his car back to the garage. They're working on the 14 as well.
I think what he probably said was, without saying it, he got turned.
Well, think he was being polite there? Matt Kenseth, winner here in February. Trying to come through the traffic. He just took 14th spot from Kyle Petty. Got Ricky Craven and Dale Jr. and Jimmy Johnson all in this group.
And you're talking to the guys in the garage here this morning. Some of the folks with Dale Earnhardt Jr. told me, he said this is the best car that he's ever had at Rockingham, including the Busch Series. He loves this Budweiser car today.
Well, you know, Junior's best finish here is 15th, so it can't be, you know, it's got to be progress from there. Talked about Tony's. All right, we'll talk about Tony Stewart in a minute. First, second place.
Mark Martin trying to take that away from Jeff Green. He does with no problem.
Okay, now let's talk about Tony Stewart. We heard the report on his pit stop from Bill that they might have punched the grill in a little bit, running into Ricky Rudd coming down pit road. Let's check it out.
He definitely slid the left front tire. Let's go on board with him, see if we can see if there's any damage.
I don't think he did.
Barely got
much damage there.
Yeah, they told him when he was here it looked fine, and we looked at it and it looked okay, so no damage there. But this pit road is really tricky. It's not quite as difficult difficult to maneuver around here as it is at Martinsville, but it's kind of hairy, especially down here near turn 1. We'll see what happens throughout the day.
Stewart back in 29th place right now. Still in the danger zone. Both of the gentlemen trailing him immediately in the NASCAR. Well, matter of fact, all of the other top 5 drivers in the championship all ahead of him right now on the track. Mark Martin running second. Got Ryan Newman leading. Jimmy Johnson in 19th.
And you can see what a bad day does for you right now. Mark Martin running in second spot. Only 52 points behind points as of now.
So, did Dave do any better job in the pre-race on his math than I do? I mean, should we get him to make those calculations?
I was very impressed with Dave's math.
Anybody that gets pi r squared into a discussion of the Winston Cup championship system.
And if he really knows how to do that, I'm impressed.
Here's Kurt Busch trying to pick up some ground that he lost on that last set of pit stops. And obviously that was no fault of the Golden Benny.
Oh, no, that's right. No, exactly.
How the numbers add up on the 97, Dave?
Well, the numbers on the stop were not good, especially after his crew did such a good in the pit stop competition, such a good job in the pit stop competition yesterday. He stalled the car leaving the pits, and as he did so, Michael Waltrip locked up the brakes, did not hit Kurt, but it took him a couple of seconds to get the car going. That's where he lost all his time.
Yeah, and Michael lost a lot of time there, too, because I saw that happen, and he had to sit there for a couple seconds while a lot of cars went by.
Michael Waltrip back in 33rd place. Kurt Busch just took 5th place from Bill Elliott. 3.5 seconds behind leader Ryan Newman now. Is that 97 car. Trying to take the three-peat. Back-to-back wins for Kurt Busch. Atlanta last week, Martinsville the week before. Hoping to make it 3 straight. Jeff Green put some pressure on Ryan Newman right after the restart, but for now, Newman has gotten away, and Green has slipped back to 3rd. Ryan Newman has led all 39 laps so far in this race. From Rockingham, you're watching NASCAR on TNT.
TV Guide proclaims Sparkley is truly must-see TV.
You know, I'll fight anybody for the right amount of money.
Don't miss Listen Up, Charles Barkley, with Ernie Johnson Thursday nights at 7.
I'll break it right here on TNT.
New leader in the Pop Secret 400 at Rockingham. Jeff Green is out in front, having just taken the top spot away from Ryan Newman.
Yeah, he put some heat on Ryan Newman on the bottom of the racetrack, and Ryan Newman pulled away from him. Well, as soon as Jeff Green went back to the top, he was able to drive by Ryan Newman and Mark Martin.
Now, just after we went to the commercial, Mark Martin poked the nose of his Ford out in front, but very briefly.
He goes up on the outside of Newman, and there's not a real struggle for the lead. Mark goes by, takes the lead, and gets those 5 bonus points.
And quickly after, Mark let Newman back by. Then Jeff Green came up and passed them both. So are we thinking that maybe Ryan Newman was working with Mark to help him get his bonus points toward the championship?
He might have. After all, both those cars are Fords. Dave, do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, no, and no math. But I can advise you on this. It wasn't Mark Martin that asked, because his crew tells me that was not asked from here. But, you know, it might have been Ryan Newman just saying, wow, Mark's coming. I'm not going to mess with him, because he was coming up on him so quick.
Well, Mark running second right now. That gap behind Jeff Green, and there's Newman, who's fallen to 3rd after leading the first 41 laps of this race. Matt, what do you know?
Well, Alan, there weren't any deals made with the 12 team. Ryan Newman has been fighting a loose race car all day. The wedge and air pressure adjustment did help a little bit, but the car is just way too free. That's why he is faded to 3rd.
Fair enough. I think Jeff Green's driving with a little anger right now in that 30 car after that race that got away yesterday.
Absolutely. Yep, I think he is.
He was only 2 corners away from victory when he and Michael Waltrip made contact.
But, I mean, he had a good car here before. This is the same car.
From the spring, yeah.
From the springtime. And
Yeah, he was really good at the spring.
He led 46 laps in that February race, Jeff Green did. Here's a race for 6th and 7th spots. Bill Elliott in the 9 and Todd Bodine in the 26.
Yeah, there's room for 2 or 3 cars between those two to get down the middle of the corner when one's on the very bottom and the other car's up near the top.
But they all want that same spot right against the wall getting off before.
Yeah, right.
That's where the problem is.
There is where they all want that same spot, yeah.
That's that tricky turn 2. Bill Elliott just kind of needs a good run today. Talked to his crew chief Mike Ford earlier. Since they had the back-to-back wins at Indianapolis and Pocono, they've only had 2 top 10 finishes in 12 races. Mike said, frustrating. We need something good.
Another guy that's frustrated right now. It's got to be Tony Stewart.
He's backed up a spot. He was running 29th, and I look like now he's on 30th.
And he may be losing some more spots. Sorry about that, guys, but his car is just way too tight. He's already talked to his crew. He's going to let Ward Burton by, but he didn't want to let anybody else by, but he just can't drive the car. He's already concerned about going a lap down if it stays green. So a tight race car for Tony Stewart. Came in leading the championship standings by 146 points, but struggling now.
Bill, do you know what they did on that change? Because he went from extremely loose to extremely tight on that one pit stop.
Yeah, they made a jack bar adjustment and an air pressure adjustment, and it might have been one of those situations where he was, you know, loose in and tight off, Wally, but right now he's just way too tight. And that was his last radio transmission before he said he was concerned about going a lap down. That's how badly the car's handling.
Yeah, he's about a second, almost a second slower right now than the leader, Jeff Green, so he could go down a lap real quick.
And Bill, I know that you were looking at the grill trying to make sure he hadn't punched the nose in on that pit stop, but remember when he and Jeff Burton bounced off each other, that left front fender on the 20 car. I wonder if there's any damage there enough from that contact to have affected the handling.
That could be. He hasn't said anything about that, but really he's been remarkably quiet on the radio, just trying to relay to Zippy what the car is doing and how he's fighting to make it do what he wants to do instead of what it wants to do. Frustration early here.
Looking at the fender, though, Alan, it doesn't look like they did enough damage really to hurt the aerodynamics on that.
Doesn't look like it.
It really looks pretty clean.
And his concern, and he has a justifiable concern because he's 18 seconds behind the leader, Jeff Green. Jeff Green's getting around the racetrack in 26 seconds, so in 8 seconds, he's 8 seconds from being lapped.
Yeah. Todd Bodine to 6th, getting by Bill Elliott after working him and working him. And here's Jamie McMurray trying to get a spot from Elliott as well. Of course, McMurray making his Winston Cup debut here at the Rockingham racetrack. We intercepted this on his team radio a little bit ago.
Did it take a while for the tires to come in? They thought they may have started you too low on pressure. It took quite a while for them to come up.
In 4, we just started you a little bit lower than we were yesterday, and we come back up.
Yeah, they're on those older tires. I mean, you're hauling ass up there. That was a pretty good groove you're in there. Actually, that right there, Sterling run there a lot. That same groove here in the spring. So don't be afraid to go back there if you have to.
Let's see, we had Lauren Lanier, the spotter, Tony Glover, the team manager, Jamie McMurray.
About all of them in the conversation.
And I think what happens a lot of times, if you start the pressures too low, the tires are real squishy. It's just like running on a flat in your family car. What happens, though, I think it does a lot of damage to those tires, not only in wear, but the belts inside. So you got to be careful not to go too low in a place like this.
Bobby Labonte's starting to creep into this race for position. In the green car, 9th place right now, just behind McMurray and Bill Elliott. Jeff Green is out in front. Ryan Newman led the first 41 laps, Mark Martin 2. Now Jeff Green has paced 17 circuits here at Rockingham.
Haven't missed a thing. Jeff Green leading here at Rockingham on a sunny, cool day. Temperature in the mid-50s. Green riding the high line, being chased by Mark Martin, who's looking down low. Been an outstanding start to this race, 400 miles to the finish. Let's take you through the field and start with the man that's up front. That'd be Jeff Green. To Marty Snyder.
And Jeff Green is working that high line, hoping Mark Martin does not pass him to the low line. He is too tight, he says. He doesn't like the car right now. For a guy that's leading, he's pretty unhappy with his chassis. He said the air pressure adjustment we had made last time just did not work. Mark Martin looking for the lead, Dave.
And Marty, where does he go for ideas on how to run fast at Rockingham? Well, how about Miami Homestead? That's right, crew chief Ben Leslie told me they learned something there in a test just a week ago that they're applying here. It seems to be working as he takes the lead now. No changes to the chassis on the last pit stop. Matt?
Dave, while those two drivers battle for the lead, back in third, Ryan Newman continues to fade. He just lost third to the 97 of Kurt Busch, 4.264 seconds back and continuing to fade. The car just cuts too well in the middle of 1 and 2, and he's having trouble over the bumps at 3 and 4. The car's still a little free, Dave.
The air pressure adjustment to Kurt Busch's car did help. He was a little bit tight in the middle, a little bit free off the corners. And by the way, as for Michael Waltrip not hitting him in the pits, he said, hey, go buy him a Coke. He was real nice to us. Now, Mike Skinner is having a great run here today. His crew had a great pit stop. He came in 6th. He came out 4th. They are now pumped full of confidence. But what about Mike here at Rockingham? He talked to us yesterday about it.
I broke my old truck championship ring out a few weeks ago and wore it some. I said, you know what? You're a champion. What are you thinking that, you know, you can't do this anymore? Or what? You know, you got to keep your self-confidence. And I think if you lose your self-confidence, you're in trouble. And I feel like with our performance, what's happened with this race team, it's cost me a little self-confidence, and I'm trying to gain it back right now.
His car was a little bit loose. The crew made a track bar adjustment on that pit stop. Bill?
Todd Bodine making career start number 168 today. He has 4 top 10s in 22 races this season. To start the race, his car was just a teeny tiny bit tight. That's what they told me. 4 tires and fuel. He hasn't said a word since. Good run for Todd Bodine. Matt?
Bill Elliott qualified 10th. He's a 3-time winner here at the Rock. His last win came in the spring of '92. In his last 3 finishes this season, a 35th, 42nd, and 33rd. Right now, he runs in the 7th position. He was too free earlier in the race, but after adjustments, now he's too tight, starting to climb up to the high side.
Matt, Bobby Labonte won here in the spring of 2000, and it may have been with good pit stops. If he has more like he just had, that'll be a great day for him. A 13.8-second stop. He just passed Bill Elliott for the position on the track, and now, during that pit stop, they took a spring rubber out of the left rear and still had a sub-14-second stop. Bill?
Jamie McMurray on the bumper of Bill Elliott. You heard that radio transmission between the team and the driver. The air pressure they were talking about, the air pressure that they started in the tires in his Busch car here yesterday. Now he looks under the 9, trying to pick up a position. Jamie McMurray, hard to believe this guy only has a handful of Winston Cup starts. Looking good at the Rock. That is not supposed to happen. Burns?
Been a disappointing season so far for Jerry Mayfield, but after starting 17th, has worked his way all the way up to 10th. His car was a little bit loose during the first run, so the crew made a wedge adjustment to the chassis to fix that problem. Alan?
There are your top 10 drivers. Mark Martin continues to lead, and he's closing in on Tony Stewart to try and put him a lap down. He is within 6 seconds of overtaking the Winston Cup Championship leader. The second place man in points is Mark Martin. Third place in the championship is Jimmy Johnson. Marty, he's having a great race.
And he is storming through the field. Alan started 31st today. He is up to 11th, folks. The car, terrific for Jimmy. He was tight in the center a little bit earlier. They took a round of wedge out. He said that was halfway there. One more adjustment, and we'll have him. Matt?
Marty, Ricky Craven won the pole and finished 5th with this race car back in the spring, but the same setup just does not work here in the fall. The track has changed too much. They had to really go in a different direction, but the car is running well. A track bar adjustment in the last stop. He started 23rd, settled into 12th. Bill?
59 races without a win for Rusty Wallace. He'd like to get back to victory lane here at the Rock, being chased by Jeff Gordon. Early in this race, his car was tight in the center. He took a roundabout out, made an air pressure adjustment to the left side tires. Right now, he's battling with Gordon. Let's check in on how the 24 cars handle him. Matt?
He's currently running in the 14th position, Bill. He was just too free up off the corner in the first run, and air pressure adjustment. They dropped him in both rears, trying to help him forward bite.
Matt, yesterday here in Rockingham, the crew for Matt Kenseth won the World Pit Crew Championship, and they set a new world record. Well, they almost got to that during this pit stop. If you compare time to time with penalties and all that, they had just over 13 seconds to fix a loose race car with a track bar adjustment. Marty?
Dave, Winston Cup start number 6 today for Greg Biffle, and he was loose before they came in. They put a pound in the right front tire, half pound on the right rear tire. He said he's just a little bit loose now. They are gaining on the car, getting better as they go along. 39-year-old Johnny Benson behind him on the track in 17th position. A little bit tight for Benson. They came in, they made a track bar adjustment, and he said nothing since then. They think the car is getting better, and he just got passed by the 99, Bill.
And the 99 might be getting a little bit better, too, although the 10 making a run at the bumper. Jeff Burton wiggles a little bit, but able to hang on. The 99 started free and was tight in the center, so they made an air pressure adjustment. 37 races. Phoenix last year, the last time Jeff Burton went to victory lane. Dave?
Bill Dale Earnhardt Jr. radioed in that his car felt like it was rolling over on the right front. Little loose in, little tight in the middle, so they made an air pressure adjustment only to fix that. The less is more theory. They didn't want to do too much too early. He's lost a couple of spots since then. Marty?
Dave, Robbie Gordon's just a little bit tight. He's trying to run that low line, but you can't run that low line when your car is tight. Just won't rotate to the center of the corner like he would like. They're going to put a pound of air into the left front tire. That should help loosen up that car just a little bit. Bill?
Now the story on championship leader Tony Stewart is not how far behind the leader he is, but how close the leader is behind him. He continues to struggle, running in the 33rd spot. He said we need to make this car roll through the center. It is just too tight. This is not the day people expected from Tony Stewart, not the day they were hoping for. But it's a battle, and as you can see, the race leader closing in on the championship leader. Wow.
Well, I'll say wow. Tony Stewart has never finished worse than 12th at Rockingham in his Winston Cup career. It's early, plenty of time for a rally, but right now, Stewart's 146-point advantage is just 30 with Mark Martin out in front. 82 laps complete. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Thursday night, the drama of the NBA continues on TNT. It starts with Listen Up, Charles Barkley and Ernie Johnson at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Then the action tips off with the LA Lakers and the Boston Celtics, followed by the Detroit Pistons and the Denver Nuggets. We cap off the night with Inside the NBA, presented by Hyundai. It's the NBA on TNT Thursday night.
And there is the leader of the 6 car, Mark Martin, as he closes in on the points championship leader, Tony Stewart.
And he gets a challenge for the lead by Jeff Green, hanging right behind him.
Green made up a lot of ground there last couple laps in traffic here.
Kurt Busch trying to win 3 straight NASCAR Winston Cup races today. Little Debbie trivia question. Who is the last Ford driver to win 3 straight NASCAR Winston Cup races?
I have to guess Mark Martin because he's leading.
Nope. Oh. We did that just to throw you off, people.
Oh, okay. Doggone it.
Got one, Walt? No, you don't.
Yes, Rusty.
Yes. Thank you. 1994. Started at Dover, won at Pocono, ended at Michigan. How about that 20 car, Bill? Struggle's a good word.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see if after he gets past here, if he dives on the pit road to get tires to try and make up some time. But the latest radio transmission, Alan, Tony thinks there's something wrong with the car, something way wrong with his race car. He says he's tried everything to make it handle, but just can't get the job done, and that is the race leader directly behind him.
And the second place man in the championship.
Yeah, that's the bad news. So not so much the race leader, but Mark Martin is the guy that's second in the championship battle.
And I mean, he is, if he's tight right now, he's really tight because he's even loose getting off now. He's got that wheel turned so much. Here's a good look at him. He won't be able to turn the car now with Mark underneath him.
Mark it down, lap 93. Tony Stewart goes a lap down.
I think I'd have to come in for tires now.
I think that would be an awfully good time. As a matter of fact, Elliott Sadler made a pit stop just a moment ago, and I wondered if it wasn't planned. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8 car.
He's coming on the pit road, and also Brett Bodime's in for a pit stop a second ago.
There's Junior. And Dave, I'm not sure these stops aren't planned.
He wasn't happy with his race car, BP. Remember how it was going backwards since the last pit stop. They're going to make a chassis adjustment to try to help him and change 4 tires. The short pitting, of course, will make him faster than everybody for a while, but he was already so far down.
And just that gamble if that caution flag should come out in the next few laps, be a lap down.
Comes Michael Waltrip down pit lane for some tires.
Another one going to short pit who had been overtaken by the leader. Try and get some speed and see if he gets a break with a caution flag later. Slugger Labby's team going to go to work. Let's talk risk reward where this short pitting is concerned. We talked about speed versus the risk. If the caution comes out before the leader stops, you're almost trapped hopelessly behind.
Well, you're a lap down.
But you can make up so much time on new tires. You're, what, 10, 12 mile an hour quicker, so you can really gain that track position back when a guy like Mark Martin is on tires that are 78 laps old and you're on fresh tires.
That's right. Mark Martin, the last lap by, ran 26:57. We'll let Dale Earnhardt Jr. run a lap or two. We'll see how fast that he runs around the racetrack. Well, the last time was 25:48, so he's already a second faster than Mark Martin per lap.
Race for position here, 5th spot, Mike Skinner giving it up to Jamie McMurray, who just went by, and look at Junior come rocketing through.
And there's a classic example of what I was just talking about. See how much faster you are on new tires. You just drive through these guys. Hey, 10, 15 laps, you can make up 15 seconds.
So if you're Greg Zipatilli, you pull the pin and bring Tony Stewart in?
Absolutely. Especially if your car's not handling.
Especially now that some of the leaders are coming in.
Ryan Newman, pole sitter on pit road, Matt.
Benny, they could not wait any longer. Ryan Newman had faded outside of that top 10. The car has been loose all day. Now he says it has been super loose, especially up off the corner. He's going to enter his box, slides to a stop, a little bit offline. They're going to make, you can see, they're going to make both a track bar and a wedge adjustment to try to fix this number 12 car as they come around to the left side. He's faded outside the top 10, just cannot hang out to it any longer. You're going to see a lot of guys go with this strategy. To Bill.
Tony Stewart making his way down pit road. They're going to make a major track bar adjustment here and an air pressure adjustment. Not much more from Tony other than the car is tight and it's a handful to drive. Has fallen off the lead lap. Obviously will fall deeper in the field. Looks like he might have a small hole in the right side of that grill. We'll have to check that out as he goes back out. Coming around to the left side. Still got the wedge in there. Got the ridge in there, making the track bar adjustment around to the left side to put on the left side tires, and Tony Stewart heads back out. A car that he's not very happy with.
We almost had a yellow.
Oh, we sure did just a moment ago, coming off turn 4. But now here's the problem. Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Michael Waltrip, all these cars that have pitted, Ryan Newman, they're on the racetrack a second faster than other cars. The speed disparity is just unbelievable. Dave?
Let's see how the world champions do this time. They're going to make another track bar adjustment for Matt, and again change 4. No chance of changing 2 here. So they're putting those skills to work on all 4 corners of the car. Bill?
Rusty Wallace on pit road. They do make a chassis adjustment. They come around to the left side. Wallace been very quiet in his car. Apparently just still a little bit tight. That's why the chassis adjustment. Dave.
Mike Skinner is in his car very loose. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, now a wedge adjustment to try to help Mike. Again, trying to get his confidence back here at Rockingham, and a great pit stop again for the 4 crew.
Jeremy Mayfield comes in, Johnny Benson, Bill Elliott coming to pit road. How much longer till the leader, Mark Martin, stops, and how much ground can Tony Stewart make up until then? Of course, once Mark gets his tires, if the race stays green for a long time, then he's going to be faster.
Yeah, I mean, it has to fall perfect. You have to be able to get your lap back, and then the yellow come out. I mean, there's just a lot of things that have to happen, but if your car's not handling well and your lap down, you really need to come in and get tires.
Last lap, Dale Earnhardt Jr., 144, Mark Martin, 139. That's about a second and a half per lap.
Dale Jarrett's in, Marty.
Yeah, and he's been tied down for most of this run. They do make a wedge adjustment trying to help him out. It will be 4 tires. He said he actually was loose off the corner. I apologize. He said when he hit the gas, the car would get loose on him, and that was the problem. They were fighting off of the corners.
He's the car, the 88's car that almost got in a wreck with the 44 car of Greg Biffle off of turn 4. You see this pack of cars right here. Little contact there.
Ripples has the 23 car of Kenny Wallace on the outside and Dale Jarrett on the inside. Didn't work too well.
Jarrett was for the lead. Jeff Green to the outside of Mark Martin. Got him. Jeff Green back out in front. Led 24 laps earlier in the race. Now see how quickly till Mark comes into the pit road. The leaders all stopped at lap 23 under caution. You can see we're more than 80 laps past that now. About to be 85.
Now Tony Stewart can just, if the green will...
That's Mark's crew chief Ben Leslie.
If the green will stay out until all the cars that are on the lead lap pit, Tony Stewart will be okay. He'll be back about a half lap behind the leader. All right, man. 24's in.
And the 24 slid to a stop. A number of drivers are sending the radio that pit road seems a little slippery today. Gordon still loose above the corner, but tight on entry. They adjusted him again with air pressure, Dave.
Mark Martin leading the race, comes off the track. His crew encouraging him to hold the speed all the way to the line. Now he's at the proper pit road speed. He comes into the assistance of his crew right now. His teammate Kurt Busch right behind him also gives up position. And the best words of all for Mark right now, no changes to this car. The car is perfect. They don't want to change it in any way except to replace the tires and to fill it full of fuel. 4 tires going on the left side now. Former leader Mark Martin leads Marty.
Jimmy Johnson extremely fast on the racetrack, just barely loose on the end of that run. They went down a half turn. Very small adjustment on the track bar and a quick stop. In front of him, Jeff Green, the leader, came down pit road. They were very good at the end of that run. We said he'd be good on long runs. They made a wedge adjustment just a little bit tight. He was not happy with it at the beginning of the run, however, and a quick stop for the AOL guys.
Todd Bodine is now the leader. He has not stopped. Jamie McMurray, Bobby Labonte, they've not stopped. And here comes Bodine off the racetrack now. That's going to put Bobby Labonte into the lead as Todd comes in. The Discover Card crew's attention. Bill, you got him?
He's coming this way. Allen wanted to stay out, try and pit with the leaders, and he's one of them. Outstanding run for Todd Bodine, and that car is so good in this race that they do not plan to make any adjustments. Didn't talk about any, just going to give him 4 tires and fuel and send him back out. So Todd, who started in row 2, looking for his first Winston Cup win. The last guy that got his first Winston Cup win at this track, Ward Burton, also started third, just like Todd did today. He's got an easy in and an easy out since there's nobody here. Directly behind him, the 40 car of Jamie McMurray. This rookie, the qualifying run, so he's got a good pit stall. Doesn't have a car parked in front of him. There's an opening in the wall. His car is a little tight in the middle, loose everywhere else. Going to make an air pressure adjustment. Got a lot of experience yesterday running in and then winning the Busch race when Michael Waltrip and Jeff Green took themselves out of it in the closing laps. This rookie continues to shine. He's on his way with 4 tires and fuel, and we go to Dave.
And Bill, Bobby Labonte gives up the lead now. His car would not turn through the middle of the corner. He's asked the crew to make a track bar adjustment as well as an air pressure adjustment to take care of that. And you'll see the wrench going in now, the rear of the car. That's where they adjust the track bar. About a whole round down, 2 rounds, a round and a half, it looks like. For that, the catch can man takes it back in, and now the left side tires will go on. Hopefully, Bobby now will feel better about the car getting through the middle of the corner.
And the round of pit stops has been completed. And the new leader is now Mark Martin. Kurt Busch is second, Jeff Green third, Ryan Newman fourth, Mike Skinner fifth, followed by Matt Kenseth, Jeremy Mayfield, Johnny Benson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Rusty Wallace. Tony Stewart, we'll check it where it cycles out and let everybody finish, but Stewart right now is back on the lead lap in 22nd place. Just past a quarter distance in the Pop Secret 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series at Rockingham. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
You look down on the North Carolina Speedway, 400 miles here for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series on TNT. And the big story so far, the disappointing run to this point for championship leader Tony Stewart. He has battled an ill-handling car all day. Let's make a singular call to the pits. In fact, I'm going to dial my own number here in the 20 pit with Greg Zipadelli, the crew chief for Tony Stewart. What's wrong with your car, Greg?
It's just exceptionally tight. I never anticipated it being this tight. I don't know, the weather changed a little bit, or I don't know if there's something wrong with it or not. He just said he's never had a car not turn like this ever since we've been here. We were pretty good yesterday in happy hour. We'll just keep working on it, see if we can make it better.
It's been very calm on the radio, back and forth. You do get a hint of the frustration in Tony's voice, but they've been talking back and forth, trying to work it out, trying to figure out a way to make that Home Depot Pontiac better. But so far, disappointing day for this 20 team at the Rock.
Well, they did gain a little bit on those tires. They put them on the lead lap again.
Yep. Got him back on the lead lap and got him in cycle in case a caution comes out.
And he's got 5 seconds. He's 5 seconds from going a lap down again on Mark Martin, the lead of the race. So if he can find some speed, or maybe the caution flag comes out, Tony Stewart, the 20 cars, right back in the race.
Tell you what I want to check out, though. The car just in front of him, Jimmy Johnson. Remember we talked about how great he'd come up through the pack, and he was running 11th when we did our through the field? All of a sudden, he's back there with Stewart in 21st place. What happened to get him that far back? Marty's running down to their pit to check that out for us, and we'll hear from him in just a second.
Well, his last lap time was pretty good. He ran a 25.60. The leader's running 25.70s, 25.80s. Maybe he had a close call.
Well, he stopped on the same lap that Mark Martin and Kurt Busch did. So, you know, I don't know what got him that far back, but we're going to find out. In a race for position here with Kevin Harvick and Jeff Burton. That would be for 18th and 19th and 20th place. Jimmy Johnson started 31st.
Hey, it looks like he's running good now, whatever did happen.
Fairly comparable speeds to the leader.
Yeah, he's quicker.
And he's put some big distance on Tony Stewart, who's just faded away behind him.
Wally, some guys are finding a new line, and Jimmy Johnson is one of them. They're running in the middle of the racetrack.
I've noticed that.
They're a little bit low. He was a little bit low on that corner, but down in 3 and 4, instead of running right on the bottom or right up against the wall, they're running in the middle. Marty, what about the 48 car?
Well, I thought it was a pit stop, BP, but I wanted to check with Chad Canals. That was indeed the case. 19-2 on Jimmy Johnson's last stop. He was a little too close to the wall when they went to put the jack on the left side. While we were talking about Jeff Green's stop, they couldn't get the jack handle all the way down. Took about 7 pumps. Happened to Kurt Busch last week at Atlanta. He came back to win the race, so maybe Jimmy Johnson can do the same thing today.
All right, thanks. That answers the question. Kurt Busch running second in the 97 car, trying to get by some lap traffic. Just behind him, Jeff Green in the 30 runs third. Steve Park in the 1. And Kenny Wallace in the 23 are racing for 29th and 30th spots. 1 lap down. They are the first cars 1 lap down. Hoping to get a caution and catch up to Mark Martin. Look at this. Back on Tony's bumper again.
And with better tires. Mark goes to the inside, and
so now if this thing stays green for a while, he'll put a lot of distance on the 20 car.
Okay, that commercial we started to go to before, but we stopped to see that pass. Let's take it now. 130 laps complete. Mark Martin leads at Rockingham. A sunny, crisp fall afternoon in the Sand Hills region of North Carolina. Rockingham, specifically, where the NASCAR Winston Cup Series is running 400 miles today. Coca-Cola family of drivers update now. Bobby Labonte just outside the top 10. Kind of a mid-pack day for the group so far.
Yeah, boys are struggling today.
Some more than others.
Some more than others. See, Tony Stewart, really the key guy, back in 28th position right now.
Race leader Mark Martin came up on a group of cars to put him a lap down just a second ago, and things got a little squirrely in front of him.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of smoke flying, probably some sparks.
We've got Robbie Gordon, John Andretti, and Kyle Petty here.
What happened there, it's hard to see at that angle, but the 31 car and the 45 car got together going down the straightaway.
But it didn't take Mark long to go by all those cars.
It didn't take him long to get off the gas either when he saw that start happening in front of him. 31, no foul.
Oh, I'm sorry, he didn't get by the 45 or 43 yet.
He got by the 31, though.
Yep.
Robbie's the first car 1 lap down, 25th place for the singular car. And Kyle and John Andretti are 23rd and 24th and trying to stay on the lead lap. Check out the running order, top of the screen. See where your favorite driver is. Johnny Benson moved up to 6th place. Nice run for him so far. But the big story of this day, the struggles of championship leader Tony Stewart. And pretty fair to say dominance in this segment of the race by Mark Martin, the man pursuing him for the title. Mark's out front leading. Tony is a lap down. And struggling with a poor handling car. Let's see, Stewart's in 30th place.
Now Mark's car looks good. He's being patient with these four cars. And he can afford to do that because he's got a good race car.
See some of the other cars that are struggling along with Tony Stewart today. Coming up on 150 miles in the Pop Secret 400 at Rockingham.
NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Rockingham, brought to you by Team Monte Carlo. The cars more champions depend on. Chevy will be there. By Stacker 2, the world's strongest fat burner. Burn fat, crush cravings, and supercharge your energy. By Pep Boys, help for your car is just a Pep Boys away. Pep Boys, we're car people. And by the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse.
At the 150-mile mark of today's 400-miler for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series in Rockingham Championship, the big story of the day. 3 races to go, including today. Mark Martin leading, Tony Stewart struggling. The lead from Stewart on Martin was 146 to start the race. If it finishes, they run now. It's down to just 34 headed to Phoenix next Sunday.
Amazing how well Mark Martin is running, but I guess the most amazing thing is just how poorly that Tony Stewart and his team are able to compete today.
But you know, I said earlier just before the start of the race, Benny, in this season of strange twists of plot in the championship, who knows what today's chapter would bring? Well, this thing's far from over, too. Who knows what can happen by the end of the race?
I mean, that's exactly right, but 150 laps into this thing, I would have never thought that Tony Stewart would have struggled this way. The way that this season, the way that the last few races have been going.
Yeah. Tony Stewart never finished worse than 12 here at Rockingham in his Winston Cup career, but again, he runs in 30th place now, 1 lap down to the race leader.
This is a good race right here.
Now this is for 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Johnny Dunson trying to take it away from Mike. Todd Bodine's right there.
John started back in 26th place. Nice run to the front for them. While we watch this race for position, let me tell you about Track Pass with Pit Command. You can find it on NASCAR.com now. Pit Command is real-time race status, in-car audio, highly detailed telemetry from any car of your choice. Follow their progress around the track or in the pits. Plus, you get a virtual dashboard. It's Pit Command on NASCAR.com.
Looks like Mike might lose 2 spots there.
And he did.
He's one of those guys, Benny, you were talking about. He's running in the middle right now.
Only 1 caution in the race so far. That came back at lap 23 when Mike Wallace and Bobby Hamilton spun. Both cars have continued after repairs. All 43 starters are in the hunt. 6 different leaders, 9 lead changes today. Mark Martin has led the most laps, out in front of 80 for 80 of the 152 laps. Mark Martin leading Kurt Busch, Jeff Green, Jeff Gordon, and Johnny Benson. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
Just about to complete lap 159 here at the Rock, and a new leader looking for 3 wins in a row. Kurt Busch has pedaled his way to the front of this field. Outstanding run. Victories at Atlanta and Martinsville, and now looking to make it 3 in a row. Here's how he got the lead away just a few laps ago. Coming up on Mark Martin, looking high, going high. Get back in the gas, coming off tricky turn 2. And down the backstretch, Kurt Busch is your race leader. Let's check on his progress. Check out the top 10 in the field. We're getting ready for green flag pit stops pretty soon, but we can check out the top 10 guys. Burns, you're first.
Hey, Weber, as he works on adjustments with his crew chief, Jimmy Fennick, he keeps referring back to Martinsville and Atlanta, what we did there. Gee, Didn't he win both of those races? That's how Kurt is looking at today's adjustments on the car. For Mark Martin, well, Mark has made setups on this car which are, quote-unquote, out of the box, according to his young crew chief, Ben Leslie, and that's what's getting them the lead and keeping it today. Marty?
Dave, remember that wedge adjustment we talked about for Jeff Green's team they did last time? Well, that just made the car loose in. Didn't fix the tied-off problem. But Todd Daria says, I got a set of tires and an air pressure adjustment that'll do that. Matt?
Jeff Gordon just came on the radio and said to his crew chief, Robbie Loomis, if you give me a little more and make me tighter, we will take these guys. This car is great. Robbie said 10-4. The more that he wanted was air pressure. Bill?
The Discover Card Ford of Todd Bodine, good, good, good. Just preaching patience. Take care of your tires. Currently running 5th, looking for his first Winston Cup win. Dave?
Bill, the 18 car of Bobby Labonte would not turn through the middle of the corner, so they made a track bar adjustment. Just checked on him. It still won't turn. It's a very, very tight race car right now. Marty?
Johnny Benson's car is just a little bit tight, Dave, and the secret for Johnny is that it does not get tighter the longer that they run. 26th to 7th so far for Johnny Benson. Dave?
The 4 car of Mike Skinner started out loose. He went very quiet on the radio after they made an adjustment. Then it got tight in the middle. He just reported that just a little while ago, and now Jamie McMurray passes him.
And Jamie McMurray continues his amazing run, Dave. Around the 4, picking up a position. Just been a good day for him again. It seems that nothing he doesn't want anything done to the cars. What I'm trying to say, got a thumbs up from Tony Glover. Good run for the 40 car. And now for the 99 of Jeff Burton. That's a car that just gets better as the race goes along. Made an air pressure adjustment on their last stop. He's running 10.
The top 10 cars there you heard from, Bill. How about Tony Stewart, championship leader?
Well, as we talked about, he said, I can't drive this thing on his last radio transmission. Then he came back, tightened me up a little bit, but he doesn't know what the car's going to do from one turn to the next. Very frustrating. He's about 8 laps away from pitting out.
So Stewart back in 31st place, a lap down to the race leaders. Mark Martin's running 2nd now. Jimmy Johnson is in 14th after he had some problems on his last pit stop. Speaking of stops, drivers that have just come in this time around, Brett Bodine's been in, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was in, Michael Waltrip was in, and now Jack Sprague and Hermie Sadler have already been on pit road under this set of stops.
And we see the laps fit. Kurt Busch and Mark Martin stopped at the same time. 58 laps ago. And see, here comes Jeff Green trying to take over that 2nd spot from Mark Martin. And he stopped a lap before these 2 guys.
But Jeff Green looks like it's really, really good at the end of the run. At the end of his tire run, that's where I think his car is the strongest.
Not able to do anything with Mark yet, but look at the run he got off turn 2.
Yeah. It's just a matter of time.
Coming up on some lap traffic with Kyle Petty, Ken Schrader just in front of them. And that's a wave by.
Yeah, definitely. Mark decided not to fight the issue. Crack the throttle a little bit and give it a clean pass.
It's amazing how 2 different lines around the racetrack can work so equally. Mark Martin on the very bottom of the track and Jeff Green right up against the outside retaining wall, and they're going around there about the same speed.
Napa Field summary. For this 400-mile race, just the 1 caution flag so far, all the way back at lap 23. All 43 starters are in it, still on the track. The caution for Mike Wallace, Bobby Hamilton, crash in turn 4. Both drivers returning after repairs. Most laps led today. Mark Martin been out in front for 84. Ryan Newman led 41. Most of them early. Now he's faded back into the field. Jeff Green has paced 27 laps. Kurt Busch 13. Bobby Labonte, Todd Bodine, and Jamie McMurray all led briefly during an exchange of green flag pit stops. Leaders should be coming in the next 20-25 laps or so. Let's take a break here, come back for their stops. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
Back live at the Rock, Winston Cup Championship leader Tony Stewart on pit road, struggling all day with an ill-handling race car. This is a wedge adjustment and a track bar adjustment, an air pressure adjustment, 4 tires and fuel, trying to make this car better. He wanted it just a little bit tighter, but again, he doesn't know what it's going to do from one turn to the next. Matt.
And the 12 car, Ryan Newman's in. They're going to make a wedge adjustment. Also look for a possible spring rubber in the left rear. The car was tight on entry, tight in the center, but loose up off. spring rubber in the left rear, Marty.
Greg Biffle running in the top 20. He's already off pit road, Matt, just a little bit tight, sliding the nose to the corner. Problem is, it gets worse the longer he runs. They made an air pressure and a wedge adjustment. Matt?
Marty, they lost a lot of time here in the 12. He drops the clutch, spins the tires, he's gone, but they lost a lot of time trying to get that spring rubber out of the left rear spring. It was just too tight in the spring.
Man, boy, that was a long pit stop.
Yeah, that was a disaster stop right there. An extra 15, 20 seconds.
They must have been pretty desperate to take that long and not just say, okay, put the tire back on and go. Kurt Busch is your leader. Lap 176 mark now. Halfway is 197. And that is pretty close to when we expect the leaders to come in, Busch and Mark Martin. They last stopped at 107. So 85 laps from there, it'd be around 192, and we should see them if they run the same distance. Tony Stewart short pitting again to try and do the same thing, see if he can go through a cycle of stops without a caution and take the extra speed to get back out on the top of the lap cycle with the leaders.
I don't know if Mark will wait that long. Do you know? I don't think he'll wait as long as he did the first time to make the pit stop, or Kurt Busch.
Well, I don't know if Mark will, because his car is not working, I don't think, as well as it was beforehand. Is it, Dave?
Now, the 6 car is tight, Benny. They're going to make an adjustment for that. It's for the 97. They were talking about stretching their fuel mileage about 8 laps longer.
Wow.
Thinking ahead to the end of the race.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it. We've only seen the one caution today, so if we go green for a lot of the second half of the race.
So if they extend it, what they're talking about doing is making it on 2 more stops. They're trying to go to the end of the race and just trying to figure out how many times they have to pit to get to the end, and it looks like twice more for the 97.
All right, we came out of that last commercial break to show you Tony Stewart's pit stop live. Let's go finish that one up and come back for the leaders' pit stops. Back at Rockingham, new leader in the race. Jeff Green just went around Kurt Busch to take the top spot in some very heavy lap traffic.
And like I said, this 30 car works good at the end of his run. Yes, he's got that car working when he wants it, when it should be working.
It looks like that the 97 and 6 are a little bit better than Jeff Green for the first 25, 30 laps. And then there's a little period that they're about the same speed, and then this AOL car becomes faster than those two.
Pit stops within recent laps for Ricky Rudd, Joe Nemechek, Jeff Gordon, Terry Labonte, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jarrett, Jeremy Mayfield. And now John Andretti and Bobby Hamilton have come through pit road. But the front runners are all still out. 192 would be 85 laps. That's what they ran last time in the full green flag run. And remember, we got the report from Dave that Kurt Busch might be trying to add another 8 laps to that.
Again, I think that Kurt Busch is trying to make it on 2 more stops.
Jeff Green's career best NASCAR Winston Cup finish, 2nd place run at New Hampshire this past July. Best ever here in Rockingham, 17th place this past February. Dave?
Mike Skinner's car has gotten tight in the middle of the corner again, so they're going to make a wedge adjustment to that car, change the 4 tires for him. Crew's having great stops today. We'll see if they can click off another one as they make another green flag stop under pressure for these guys. Bill?
89 Winston Cup champion is on pit road, loose in the middle, or rather tight in the middle and loose off. That tight condition is worse than the loose, so it's 1 pound down in all the tires except the right rear, and a wedge adjustment that Rusty called for as he came down pit road. Waiting on the left side tires, he's on his way to Matt.
And Bill Elliott's stop is already complete. They made a track bar adjustment. The car is still way too loose.
Did that stop so fast? He drove right out of the camera picture.
Could even catch up with him.
And that car, Rusty, Bill was saying that it was tight in the middle, loose off. A lot of times the tight in the middle will make you loose off because you're turning the wheel so much getting off the corner.
Dave?
Well, a laundry list of problems for Matt Kenseth, aside from the little right rear damage there. Loose in, tight middle, loose off. They're going to make a wedge adjustment and a track bar adjustment to this car and try to find the handle for Matt. It's not been a very impressive day so far behind the wheel. The crew still trying to make it one on pit road. And another good stop for them.
Kyle Petty's also been in, heading back out. Another lap or 2 before we see the front runners if they run the 85 lap distance again. Here comes Johnny Benson in, going to give up 8th place for his pit stop. Marty?
Yeah, 26 to 8 for Johnny Vincent. He felt like his tires were really giving up there at the end, but who doesn't feel that here at Rockingham? But James Vincent's crew chief was on the radio saying, race the track. Don't worry about those guys with other tires. Just a little bit tight with Johnny, but it kind of stays the same all the way through the run. Half pound into the right rear tire for the Valvoline guys as they go to the left side. Now, Vincent having a terrific day here at Rockingham.
James, the crew chief, is not feeling all that great here. On their way to a test in Phoenix this week, he suffered a ruptured eardrum. Little pressurization problem in the airplane, and he suffered a ruptured eardrum. And he said, I won't be able to hear much by the end of the day.
Marty?
Well, BP here in February, Jeff Green led 46 laps today. He's already led over 30 laps. Remember, we said he was just a little bit loose in, but the biggest problem, tied off. But they're very good on the long runs. Half pound out of the right front tire, half pound into the right rear tire, and that's 2 great stops for these AOL guys today.
That was a good pit stop.
Leaders now Kurt Busch. Mark Martin is second. Todd Bodine third. They have not stopped yet. Here comes Todd off turn 4. So he'll give up third spot. And Jeff Burton's in. Bill?
And they're going to make a wedge adjustment on his car, which has gotten better the longer the race has gone along. So it's 4 tires, fuel, just a very small wedge adjustment for the Citgo Ford of Jeff Burton. Making their way down pit road, the 26 and the 40. Todd Bodine will get here first. He slides to a stop. Going to be 4 tires and fuel. Todd has really been concentrating, hasn't said much on the radio. No chassis adjustments. As for Jamie McMurray, continues to be a situation where he's tight in the middle, loose every place else. Chassis adjustment, 4 tires and fuel for Jamie McMurray. So the 26 to the 40 on pit road. Todd Bodine on his way. McMurray waiting on his tires and fuel, and now he heads out.
Tell you what, Mark Martin has stretched the fuel farther than he did last time. We heard from Kurt Busch's crew that he was going to run it a little longer. Mark, maybe Ben Leslie's thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, listen to Mark playing with that throttle, not able to get back on the throttle the way that he wants to because there's just no grip in those tires.
Martin running 5.9 seconds behind Kurt Busch, the race leader, and he'll stay out for another lap. Looks like he's got some trash on his grill.
When you're off your tires, like Benny said, listen here. Goes down into turn 3, but you'll listen how gently he picks up the throttle. Hear how easy that is? If he went to go after that throttle real hard, he'd spin out. That's how the tires feel right now. And it's even worse over here off of turn 2. Roll the car in, let it roll forever.
And see, he went down to 115 miles per hour in the middle of the corner of 1 and 2 with new tires. He probably would go down to 130.
Looks like he may be coming in.
Change lanes there, so we'll see if getting to the bottom was the indication he's coming to pit road.
Yep.
You ride with the race leader, Kurt Busch, as he takes the halfway signal and comes to pit road for a stop under green. 45 mile an hour, the pit road speed limit today, and it's a long drive down to where Bill Weber's stationed in turn 1.
And that's where the crew is waiting for Kurt Busch, who chases his 3rd consecutive win. Comes in here 6th in points. They've really sort of lost the front fight here, looking to get more grip in the front of the car. Going to make a track bar adjustment. That's what they talked about. Right side tires are on, come around to the left side. Now they make the track bar adjustment. And then Kurt Busch will head on his way. See if they can make a good car even better.
Good pit stop changing for tires and making that chassis adjustment.
Okay, so we've got to see Mark Martin shortly, right? If you're Ben Leslie, his crew chief, you can't leave him out there now that the guys he's racing for the win with all have fresh tires.
Right. He's coming in this lap, I would say.
Guess again.
Okay, I was wrong. But see, look at how much practice he's using right now.
Fuel 1 turn about out of the right rear. Down 1 turn in the right rear.
Okay, next time.
So Mark Martin will bring his car to pit road as we ride with him. This is tricky, too. Those worn tires and getting slowed down to the pit entrance.
Yeah, you got to charge the pits as fast as you can, but you got to be careful right here because there's a lot of gravel, a lot of dirt and rocks.
Dave Burns has got the Mark Martin stop for us.
And Matt, you're Alan. And Alan, you heard all the adjustments they're going to make to that car, mainly the right rear wedge adjustment, some air pressure too to help him out. And he will also, looks like he's going to get a cool drink there. They're going to take a tearaway off the front. And there goes that wedge adjustment. Ben Leslie, the crew chief, told me this morning, check us after 30 or 40 laps because we only got 30-lap runs in and see if we're still good. I think they are. Marty.
Dave, perhaps a big moment in the championship. Jimmy Johnson radioed in, said, I have a very bad vibration. I don't know what it is, either a loose lug nut or a flat tire. It appears to be loose lug nuts on the right rear. They changed 2 tires. He's back out on the track, but he lost a lot of track position, Bill.
Bobby Labonte slides to his stop at his pit stall. His car's pretty good. Jimmy Makar's crew chief told him, we want to stay in the same fuel window with the 6. That's why they stayed out. He comes in, no chassis adjustments. It's tires and fuel for the former Winston Cup champ.
Well, that's going to hurt Jimmy Johnson.
Sure is, that unscheduled pit stop.
That's those things you can't have in the pits right now. Mistakes.
So Bobby Labonte rejoins the chase, and the lead cycles back around to that 30 car that's coming past him. Jeff Green being shown out in front just past the midway point here at Rockingham today. We'll check the championship contenders when we come back. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
In his world, power means killing, and respect is just another word for fear. Watch Scarface, a window into the dark world of the American dream. Tonight at 8 on TNT.
Jeff Green is the leader of the Pop Secret 400 at Rockingham, just past the midway point of the race. What has been a very green flag edition so far. Just one caution back at lap 23 for an accident between Bobby Hamilton and Mike Wallace.
And right now, Jeff Green trying to put the 2-car Rust Wallace a lap down. And as you see, and I see, and everyone sees, Rusty does not want to go a lap down.
He doesn't want to go a lap down.
No, because you realize that once you get that lap down, this victory kind of goes out the window.
21st place for Rusty Wallace, so that leaves 20 on the lead lap. Championship standings. Mark Martin is running 6th. Tony Stewart is looking 32nd right now. And Jimmy Johnson, after the extra pit stop, 36th. Big day for Mark Martin so far. Now, the scattering of that set of pit stops have done a couple of things. First of all, they've really jumbled up the running order. Second of all, they might have set up for an economy run if we don't see the caution between now and the checkered flag.
Well, I really felt like that's why the 6 and the 97 and the 18 car, those 3 cars were staying out there to make it on one more stop. The 30 car, Jeff Green, I believe he and every other car out there have got to stop twice more. And Wally, you know that 45 miles per hour down pit road and then changing tires, that's at least a lap.
Yeah, that's a lot of track time. Just Mark staying out 4 laps longer than the 97. He gained 9 seconds on the racetrack just in those 4 laps because Kurt had better tires for those 4 laps that Mark was out there sliding around.
And that's 9 seconds that Mark is now behind Kurt Busch. Kurt is 7.5 seconds behind Jeff Green. 97 car in 2nd place now. Another second back to Jeff Gordon in 3rd. Another 2.5 seconds to Todd Bodine in 4th. Then another 3 seconds to Mike Skinner in 5th, and 3 more seconds to Mark Martin in 6th. Difference in their pit stops, though, have a lot to do with that. Jeff Green stopped at lap 191. Kurt Busch at 197. Mark Martin at 201. While some of these other guys like Mike Skinner were in at 186. Ken Schrader popped up into the top 10 there. He's running 10th right now. He stopped way back at 172.
Now we can see the 43 car trying to stay, I guess, going 2 laps down.
No, he's trying to stay tail end of the lead lap. He's in 20th place. Yep. Jimmy Johnson made a 2nd pit stop moments ago under the green. Marty.
What a tough break for this talented bunch, Alan, and it was the right rear tire. Indeed, some lugs were loose. Let's show you on this tire. Notice how these holes are oval shaped and not circular shaped like this one. The studs that come through here caused a big vibration when the lug nuts were not tight. They wobbled around. That was the vibration that Jimmy felt in the race car, and that's what happens when you don't get the lugs tight. It will make these out of round and oval shape. That will cause a vibration in the car, and when you're third place in the points, that will cause big problems.
Big problems being 2 laps down, 36th place.
Yeah, that's big problems.
175 laps to go at Rockingham. Jeff Green is the race leader by nearly 6 seconds over Kurt Busch. A race that's run a long time under the green and really spread the field. Got a weekend full of NASCAR action for you next weekend from the Valley of the Sun in Phoenix. NASCAR Busch Series racing. Saturday, Michael Waltrip joins BP and I in the booth. Wally's going to go drive his Pepsi Dodge. Next Sunday, you can see the NASCAR Pit Crew Championship at 1 Eastern Time. And then Home Depot presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Phoenix as the fight for the championship moves to the desert southwest.
Oh boy, the leader's in a mess now, trying to put a bunch of cars a lap down. Heavy traffic. And Hank Parker Jr. on the outside, the 91. He gets by him. There's the red car of Bobby Hamilton.
That was involved in the only caution of the day. And we're down to 16 cars on the lead lap now. Dale Earnhardt Jr. made a pit stop under the green a minute ago. He's been kind of pulling that short pit thing to the extreme today.
He's been stopping about every 60, 70 laps.
It's not helping. No. Unfortunately for him. Speeds at the line. Mark Martin. Looking pretty good.
Yeah, that a lot of lap traffic there. That's going to affect that time a little bit.
It's 10 seconds behind Jeff Green right now is Mark. Caution is out. Debris in turn 1.
Well, let's see. Right now we have 16 cars in the lead lap. How many going to get a lap back on Jeff Green? Here he comes off the corner. Bill Elliott's getting a lap back.
Oh, he's letting a bunch of them.
A bunch of them going to get it, but Rusty Wallace did not. Oh, man.
I guess he was waiting for his teammate, Robbie Gordon.
Yes, looked that way.
But in the meantime, he gave a couple of them a break. So that will leave us 19 cars on the lead lap, and everybody's going to pit here, and that'll take the fuel thing completely out of the equation. Not on the lead lap, though. Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, trapped 2 laps down. Check that, trapped 1 lap down. I'm sorry.
You look like they had again.
No, see, they hadn't crossed the start-finish line yet to update that line on the scoring line.
I know, that's why I gave you the finger. That's nothing but finger.
No, that was too easy. I'm not even going to go there.
All right, here we go. Jeff Green. Jeff Gordon coming in the 3rd spot. All right, Marty, 30 car coming to you, the leader.
Yeah, and BP's chassis is kind of flip-flop now, and now it's just a little bit loose. Remember, he's been tied all day long. That means the car may be coming to him just the way he wants to. They're going to add a pound to the right front tire for Jeff Green. Not a very big adjustment. Again, very fast on the longer runs. Dave?
Mark Martin needs a big adjustment, Marty. He said loosen it up a lot. That'll be a 3-turn wedge adjustment in the right rear of the car. Bill?
Kurt Busch is a little snug. They're going to make a 1/4 pound air pressure adjustment in both the rear tires. He wants more help for later in the run than at the beginning of the run. Pat.
Jeff Gordon needs help with drive off, he said, but the track bar adjustment they did on the last stop did not work as a 30 car goes by. They backed up on that, and they went with a wedge adjustment on this stop.
Jeff Green, first off pit road. Yep. Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, Todd Bodine. Under caution, 230 laps complete, not quite 250 miles into the race today at Rockingham.
NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Rockingham, brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of NASCAR. By Ford, no boundaries. By Sprint, introducing PCS Vision. It's clearly a whole new way to look at wireless. And by Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheats.
Check the Pepsi race recap. What's happened so far today? A clear, crisp, cool autumn afternoon. Tony Stewart starting in 24th spot, trying to protect his lead in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. First caution, lap 23. Bobby Hamilton might have gotten nipped by Michael Waltrip. place inconclusive. Mike Wallace did get him, though. Stewart on the pit stop into the back of Ricky Rudd. Long green flag run, and Stewart's car just not handling. Went a lap down to Mark Martin. Tony short pitted, got back out in front of Mark, then lost a lap again to his rival for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship, and that most recent caution has trapped Tony one lap down back in 29th place. Championship story of the day. Jeff Green leads. Kurt Busch is second. Jeff Gordon third. Mark Martin fourth. Todd Bodine fifth. 19 cars on the lead lap. And we're back at it after the second caution of the race for debris in turn one.
Now's an awfully good time for another caution flag because, as you well know in this business, caution breeds caution flags.
You know, Benny, when we started this race, the sun was out. And, boy, it got cloudy in the last 15, 20 minutes here.
Could make a big difference.
They'll usually change the way the cars handle on the racetrack by the sun coming out or being cloudy. And there's the sun again.
Battle for the lead. Kurt Busch, the 97 car, gets on the inside of Jeff Green, takes it away.
Fourth time today. Fourth time today, Kurt Busch has led. Just behind him, the lap car of Rusty Wallace, separating second place Jeff Green from third place Jeff Gordon.
Kurt Busch likes to see this right here in the mirror.
Oh, yes. Anytime you look up in your mirror, see two cars racing side by side, you know that they're losing time. And Jeff Gordon does not want to see it. He wants one up to make a decision because he'd like to see if he can catch 97 car. Talking about Jeff in the 24.
Bill Weber talked with Rusty Wallace and Ryan Newman on the wagon just before the start of the race on Discover Card Countdown to Green. Rusty said he thought he was still a contender for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship, but being trapped a lap down in 20th place is not a way to contend for the title.
And his teammate Ryan Newman also a lap down as we see Tony Stewart, points leader, trying to fight his way back, but most of the cars going by on the outside of Tony.
And that's pole center. He's racing position with this Ryan Newman right there in the 12 car.
Yep. Ryan got trapped by that last caution, too. His car's handling had gone away, and he fell back and lost time and lost a lap. And now he's back there racing for 28th place.
Bill, what kind of changes did they make to Tony Stewart that time?
Well, they continued to work on the chassis of the car. And basically, he said the car was good getting off the turn, but that's because he had so much trouble getting into the turn. The car was actually slow. I just talked to car chief Scott Deal. He said the car is a little bit better than where we started, but basically in the overall scheme of things, that's not saying a whole lot. So the story here is that they're running 28th, and it's getting a little bit better, but this race is only 400 miles.
Mark Martin, Todd Bodine, third place. Check that, fourth place.
Yeah, because Jeff Gordon was able to get by the 30 car of Jeff Green coming down the front straightaway, take over that second spot. So now Mark Martin trying to catch Jeff Green for third.
Fender contact there with Todd and Kenny Wallace. Kenny a lap down, 22nd place in that 23 car. Mike Skinner, solid day. Heard from Mike earlier. Said he had to break out his Craftsman Truck Series championship ring and talk himself into the fact that he could still get this job done. Dave, this team is having a solid day.
They are, Alan, and just a slight adjustment for him in the last pit stop. He was a little bit tight in the middle of the corner, so the crew took air pressure out of both left side tires to correct that.
And those guys down there have been banging off some pretty good pit stops for Mike, too, today.
They really have. They are to be complimented because you get in a situation, you go along all year long and have a dismal year, and you get into a situation that you run well. Usually it's the pit crew, somebody lets you down, but today the whole team seems to be pulling together.
Best finish this season for the 4-car, 12th place on the road course at Sears Point. Mark Martin had this to say on his team radio just a few laps ago.
The last 4 we put on, it was real tight in neutral off. So I'd rather try to run too loose. I want to go, big. I think something's happening big to us.
That was just before that last restart.
It happened in big. In other words, the sun's going behind the clouds, which would make a big adjustment.
Track conditions changing, and you've got to keep up with that all the time.
Something big is happening for him in a good way where the championship's concerned. He could cut Tony Stewart's lead by a third if the race were to finish as they run right now, with Mark Martin running third, Stewart in 28th, and Jimmy Johnson 30th. Kurt Busch leads. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. The North Carolina Speedway in Rockingham, home of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Today, the Pop Secret 400, and you're seeing it live on TNT. Just past 250 miles in the event, Kurt Busch has a 2.7-second lead on Jeff Gordon, trying for the three-peat after wins at Martinsville and Atlanta in the last 2 weekends. Not just a lead, he's got a big lead, too. He really sprinted away over this fight now for second place.
And Mark's been working on Jeff here, and Mark looks like his car's a little bit better. He'll go down, try it on the bottom, and take the spot.
Yes. Checking the scoring monitor, Mark's car has been fast the last few laps.
Third place man in the championship, hitting pit road. What would have to be an unscheduled stop, Marty.
It has gone from bad to worse for Jimmy Johnson, guys, and this is not going to be a quick pit stop. They're going to put it up on jack stands. When he came in the last time, remember we told you the right rear was loose. They left some lug nuts loose. What they saw was a bunch of grease inside the wheel. That means that the drive plate has worked itself loose, so they're going to try to replace the hub or the drive plate. They investigated the problem. It was not a very good break for these guys, and they go further behind. We're going to ask Chad Knaus in just a moment what they saw when they went in under the right rear wheel well and what damage it looks like it might have caused earlier from leaving that right rear wheel loose. They do have a new rear tire changer. They brought in Corey Cook from the NASCAR Busch Series team with Jack Sprague, and they sent their former right rear tire changer down to the 60. Caution on the track.
Oh, man.
Todd Bodine
had a great run going. He's 7th position.
Come on, Todd. Yeah, I'm all right.
That has all the makings of a right front.
Boy, it sure does.
Going down. Caution is out, third time in the race. Further damage for Jimmy Johnson because now he probably lost another lap on that unscheduled pit stop. And indeed, it traps him now 3 laps down to the race leader.
You might be right, Alan. He hit the wall way early in the turn 1, like he went straight.
Well, here's the camera going down in turn 1. There comes Todd Bodine right at us.
Yep, right front tire comes down.
We see the tire start coming apart.
Great shot.
Oh, this won't be fun.
No, just listen.
Yeah, all you gotta do is listen to this.
Yikes. That's a hard hit. What's going on down there, Marty?
Well, Jeff Green's still fighting the same problem. While he's a little bit loose in, a little bit tied off. That is the greater problem. They're going to go down 1 round on the track bar, Dave.
Mark Martin was loose before, 3 rounds down. This time still loose, another round down on the wedge in the right rear. Weber.
No changes for Kurt Busch. Jimmy Fennig, his crew chief, tried to sell me that he was a little stuck. Busch said, leave it alone. Matt.
Jeff Gordon still needs help to drive up. The car was a little tight in the center of the corner. Up 1 round on the track bar. Service complete. The race off pit road. He hit the rear tire off Bill Elliott's car. You have to check the front valence, guys, when he comes around.
Yeah, he hit that pretty hard, Matt. We'll have to take a look at that.
Everybody got up and continued to finish the stop. Good news there.
Doesn't look like a lot of damage to Jeff Gordon's car. I'm sure that's the where he hit the tire there.
Yeah, he got lucky.
And Jimmy Johnson has taken his car behind the wall inside the NASCAR Winston Cup garage where they go to work on that drive plate problem on the right rear that Marty told us about a little bit ago.
And that all the result of a loose wheel.
Yes.
And Wally, you talked about it at the very top of the broadcast. A mistake you might make on pit road could take you out of the championship.
It certainly can. These guys got to be on top of their game here today.
Championship leaders in, Bill.
And they'll continue to work on this car. Tony Stewart makes the long drive down pit road. Again, the car has gotten a little bit better. It was having trouble getting it into the turns, so it was better off, basically because it was slowing down. Left side tires going on now. As they go around to the left side, they'll jack it up, take off those, and put 2 new ones back on. But it's fuel and 4 tires and a frustrating day for Tony Stewart.
Leaders all basically held their ground on the pit stops. Kurt Busch, Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, the top 3. 134 laps to go. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
Well, Jimmy Johnson's title hopes may have hit a brick wall here at Rockingham. You can see them working to replace the hub. It was indeed a seal that came loose. All the grease from inside the hub, the rear end of the car, came out into the rear of the right rear tire of the car. This is heartbreak for these guys, and these are the frustrating ones as we go back to green on the track, because they had a great car today. It was a silly mistake that took them out here.
Now, this ought to be a pretty good race. Rusty's going to want to get this lap.
Yeah, he raced very hard the last time trying to get that lap back. Could not do it because Kurt Busch just a little bit too fast.
Rusty in 19th place. First car 1 lap down. Todd Bodine treated and released at the infield medical center after the crash that brought out the caution.
Rusty taking a look. He wants it, doesn't he?
Oh, he wants it so bad. Is Wally, if he gets back in the lead lap, he's still 19th, and he's got to fight his way through 18 more cars to get back to the front.
Yeah, 1 step at a time.
Yeah. But the first thing he's got to do is get back in the lead lap.
Right.
And passing Kurt Busch has been a problem for almost everyone all afternoon.
Now, Jeff Green was up among the front runners before the pit stop. He came in 4th, but he's now 11th. What happened there, Marty?
Yeah, and they had a log fall off the left front for Jeff Green. We talked about the great stops these guys have been having all day on this last stop. Log nut fell off the left front, but as Todd Barrier just told me, watch us come back to the front.
Okay, we will. There he is.
Picked up 1 of the spots he lost. He's up to 10th now. Jeff Green has led 68 laps of the 267 that have been completed so far today. They complete 268 now. Where's Tony?
Well, there he is racing with Ricky Rudd. But still back for the 24th, 25th position.
Well, that's better than the 29th and 30th that he was a little while ago.
He's gained 5 spots. 25 car Nemechek. Roger Thunderman, another position. All these cars racing 4 spots.
Just joining us, Tony Stewart took the green flag in 24th place, but his car was handling poorly. He slid back to 31st. Then he got lapped by Mark Martin at lap 93. Tried to short pit, got back on the lead lap, got lapped again. Then the caution flag came out and trapped him way behind. Mark Martin has been out in front for more laps than anyone else so far today. 4 times he's led for 87 laps. He's running 2nd now. And so Mark, at this point in the race, taking a big chunk off Tony Stewart's lead in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship.
Well, right now, there's 3 or 4 spots that Tony Stewart can pick up. And right now, 4 spots is 12 points.
And we've still got a long way to go. Not quite at 300 miles yet. There are the standings. 146 was the distance between Stewart and Martin starting the race. That's how they run now. Jimmy Johnson, just having come back onto the racetrack now, 12 laps down in 40th place. Tony Sadler has just taken his car to the garage. Mike Wallace has been retired from the race after they struggled with handling issues after the early crash. And Todd Bodine now done for the day after his accident of moments ago. Closing in on 300 miles, 121 laps to go in the Pop Secret 400 at Rockingham. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
We got back here just in time. Mark Martin closing in on the 97 of Kurt Busch here at Rockingham, North Carolina Motor Speedway. Kurt Busch has won back-to-back races looking for the 3-peat. Now Mark Martin closing in on him. It's been a great day for the Roush guys. Roush's car is running first and second. Jeff Burton chasing him down from fifth. But right now, it's a battle up front as the veteran chases the 24-year-old who's had an outstanding season. Matt Kenseth, who won here in the spring, in February, currently 11th. So the Roush team's making some noise here today. And I'll tell you what, they're going to make a lot of noise up at the front of the field, it looks like, for the next few laps or so, you guys.
Well, with Mark Martin running second, Bill, if Jack Roush ends up for some, through these last 3 races, winning the Winston Cup Championship this year as a team owner for the first time after almost losing his life back in the spring in that airplane crash down in Alabama. What a story that would be.
That'd be big. Yes, it would.
Not familiar with the story. Jack, for a birthday present, was flying an experimental airplane and somehow didn't see or in some way came in contact with a power line. He obviously doesn't remember. Ended up in a lake in that airplane, and a retired Marine jumped in the water and went out, dove down, couldn't get him out, dove a second time, unbuckled him, pulled him out, got him up, revived him. Jack went through a recovery period that was much more speedy than anyone ever imagined. Came back to the racetrack just weeks later. Larry Hicks, the Marine's name.
Lead most laps, so we can get more points for Tony. But we'll have to race him at the end. So we're checking into it now.
Oh, maybe we need to let Mark get by so he can lead the most laps, get those 5 bonus points. And
was that Jack's voice talking to Jimmy Fennig, I heard?
I think Jim Fennig answered.
Jimmy's going to do a little math on that
one.
Better him than me. For the lead, here comes Mark. And he's got it.
And there again, that looked like here you go.
Yeah, here you go.
Take it.
Okay, so Mark has led.
We'll hang out right here.
There's Kurt's answer. Mark's led 88 laps today. Kurt Busch 79. Got 110 to go. And it's just so close between the two of them that there's not really any math involved. Kurt can't let Matt lead X number of laps and then say, okay, I'll take the lead back, because by the time they get that done, they'll be really close to the finish.
And they've got to make one more pit stop, so who knows how they'll come off pit road.
Well, let's just see. While I do this math, let's take a commercial break. This might take me a few minutes. You got to carry them once. Yeah, okay. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Trouble for Ward Burton has brought the caution flag out here at Rockingham. The turn 3 wall did the damage to the back end of the Cat Dodge. And the front end.
And the sides.
And here's how.
Oh, it was really a weird deal. There he is.
He's got a
oh, he's got.
I don't know what the heck that
what was it?
Did he get run into?
Evidently, someone ran into him in the back of him somewhere back off turn 2, and he was still trying to get the thing back under control. Oh, the right front tire's flat.
Before or after? Or...
Yeah, why not?
We'll further investigate that one. Meantime, the leaders are coming to the entrance to pit road. Oh, he and Brett Bodine brushed.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like you were starting to say, Benny. It started way back there in the straightaway.
Okay, leaders are in. Marty.
An important stop for Jeff Green's bunch, Alan. They're running in 8th. They've been running up front all day long. They need a smooth stop. Todd Barrier says air pressure in both right side tires, so the car will turn better. Dave?
Mark Martin said everything's beautiful. The reason they're going to put another half round to wedge in to keep up with the track. They think it'll keep getting tighter. Bill?
Kurt Busch hits the marks perfectly, just a little bit snug. Again, it's a quarter-pound air pressure adjustment in the left rear. Matt?
Jeff Gordon stops a little short, so he has an easier exit. His car is just way too tight, he says. Everybody's killing him in the center of the corner. They made a wedge adjustment. He's not going to beat the 6 or 97 off pit road. Does he get the 18, Alan?
Not quite, I don't think.
Didn't look like it.
And the 6.
Mark gets out first.
Hold serve. There's the camera at the scoring line at the exit of pit road. Yeah, 18 will do it, Matty.
Beats Jeff Gordon by about a half car length.
See if we can take another look. See Brett right there.
Yeah, they just made contact down the straightaway.
Oof. That was close. Oh. So Ward Burton in trouble, brings out the caution here at Rockingham. 100 laps to go. Another look at the incident that's put us under caution that resulted in Ward Burton getting crashed.
On board with Jimmy Johnson, and we see just somehow all of a sudden the 22 and 11 got touched wheels, and all cars kept going except Ward, and he backed her in the fence hard. As a matter of fact, we see him now taking the car in the garage area.
97 laps to go as they come to the restart. Mark Martin leads Kurt Busch, Bobby Labonte, Jeff Gordon, and Mike Skinner. Ryan Newman, first one a lap down in 19th place, trying to get back in cycle with the leaders. And getting a terrific bite off turn 2.
Ryan Newman has been pretty fast. They must have made some change to that 12 car and gotten much better, because he's pretty fast right now, got by the leader. And back in the lead lap.
Now, we talked earlier about Mark Martin and Kurt Busch and playing the who's going to get the bonus points for leading the most laps in the race. Mark has to be out in front for 37 more laps to lock up those 5 bonus points. Marty, Scott Ward Burton.
Indeed, Alan, and he's walked away from his car. What happened there, Ward?
11 car got into me, cut the left front down. We run like shit all day anyway.
Obviously, very disgusted with the way they did run today and what happened out on the track.
Well, in the heat of the moment, sometimes you say things that you wish you hadn't said. I'm sure that tomorrow Ward will wish he hadn't said that. But today's today, and he's very disappointed.
Ward Burton becoming the 4th driver out of the race. Herbie Sadler, Todd Bodine, Mike Wallace, all also out of this event. This came over with Mark Martin's radio under the caution a minute ago.
Another half a round. Not going to hurt nothing if you think you can handle it. The car's perfect. I'm just afraid it keep tightening up, but that was perfect right there. Maybe we should leave it, but I bet we'll regret it. My experience has been they've gotten tighter every time, but we can leave it for this time if you want. I'm scared to mess with it, but I'm also afraid it'll get tight.
And that's a problem. When your car's working good, you don't want to mess with it. But if you think the track conditions are going to change, you got to kind of second guess yourself. Well, Bill Elliott's way off the pace on the backstretch.
Dave Burns.
The part of that impressed me the most, guys, was at the very end of that conversation after Mark said, maybe we shouldn't mess with it. Ben Leslie, the young crew chief for this team, said, put a half a round in. He made the final decision.
Mark right now out in front of Kurt Busch by those 3 or 4 car lengths you see.
And this track has gotten a lot more shade right now on the racetrack. I know the sun keeps popping out, but if it gets cloudy and stays this way, the track will get tighter. It'll make it harder for these cars to turn.
And they added some wedge to the 6 car, which will hinder that problem, making the car turn.
Because what it does is just giving your rear tires a little bit more better bite, which is tough to turn the car.
I want to talk about these two and that whole championship dynamic with the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps and these teammates. That may be about the most publicly we've ever been able to discuss teammates working together for bonus points like that. I know it's happened before, but we happen to catch it on the air.
I mean, Kurt Busch said, I'm just going to park right here right now and let Mark lead the laps, get the 10 bonus points, the 5 for leading the most laps, plus the 5 for leading the lap. And who knows, at the end of the year, that might be worth something.
And he's obviously, Kurt's got a lot of confidence in his race car, because if he didn't feel like he could go up there and repass Mark, he wouldn't have done that. Thing is, you got to look in your mirror, and you got a guy like Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon back there. You know, you got to be careful.
A lot of controversy in Formula One racing, the Grand Prix circuit, mostly over in Europe, about team orders. A couple of times this season, the Ferrari team ordered their number 2 driver to pull over and let the number 1 driver pass and win a race to get the bonus points. And in fact, the Formula One ruling body is going to make that illegal, make team orders against the rules for next season.
They should.
What about this kind of team cooperation then? Is this okay?
I think it's okay. I don't want to see them figure out team orders to who's going to win the race. I mean, when it comes down to the end of the race, if Kurt Busch can pass Mark Martin to win the race and deprive him of those 5 points between first and second, I want Kurt Busch to try to pass him and win the race.
I agree with you. As long as it's not for the win or a position, I don't think this is doing a whole lot of harm.
I think this is a tremendous show of respect for Mark Martin and for Jack Roush, because the young guys that drive for this Roush organization have all looked up to Mark for what he's accomplished. He came to Winston Cup in the early 80s, couldn't get anything done, had to go back to ASA, won his 4 championships there, then came back to the Winston Cup Series. The drivers have tremendous respect for what Mark has done and the way Jack Roush has put this organization together. Every driver and every person at Roush Racing knows the best chance for Jack Roush to win a championship right now is with Mark Martin. So driving that car right there, Kurt Busch knows the guy in front of him. Every lap, every point could be critical, especially what's happened with Tony Stewart today.
Yeah, and I've had Mark Martin as a teammate before, and I think he's respected not only in his team, of course, but throughout this garage area. If you go up and ask him a question, you know you're going to get a straight answer from Mark, and he's a really good teammate to have.
I mean, let's face it, Jack Roush started NASCAR Winston Cup racing with Mark Martin as his driver. And together, Mark Martin, Jack Roush, and a lot of other people have built something that is huge.
Yeah, and if they're going to win a championship, it should be with. I mean, you know, Mark's got a lot of time and a lot of work in there.
He's got to lead 25 more laps before he'll lock up the bonus points for leading the most laps today. While Mark leads, Tony Stewart is back in 21st place, so he's gained a couple of more spots, but he's still the 3rd car 1 lap down. 84 to go. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
What's the estimate? 12.2 million. When the stakes are high, you have to know your enemy better than you know yourself. If I'm there, you are going down. Don't miss the drama in heat. Today at 4:30 after NASCAR on TNT.
Looked like Wally's last contract negotiation with the network.
They wanted me to play that part in Narrows Park, but I was just too busy.
Yeah. Mark Martin, go ahead.
You guys.
Yeah. Mark Martin leading with 77 laps to go at Rockingham. In pursuit first of the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps in today's race. Secondly, of his 2nd win of the 2002 NASCAR Winston Cup season. Thirdly, a big gain on Tony Stewart in the championship.
Does Skinner just get by Jeff Gordon?
5th place.
Gordon goes back to the top.
And the 99 car of Jeff Burton also on the lead lap in that mix. How about Jeff Burton today, Bill?
Yeah, they've really done an outstanding job, not only driver but crew as well. Last time came in 6th, went out 50 spot and a little bit back. The car was loose 2 stops ago, so they came in, tightened it up, got a little bit too tight, so they tried to loosen him back up a little bit. But 4 tires, fuel, air pressure adjustment. Jeff Burton, 37 races since he went out last week to victory lane at Phoenix, October of last year. But this good showing, and we've talked about the Roush guys throughout the day, and he's one of them having a good afternoon at the Rock.
Today, Mark Martin has got himself in the lead, in a pretty comfortable lead right now. Half a second over, half a second over Kurt Busch, but he's got some serious problems on the way. And Johnny Benson.
Yeah, 10 car.
Oh, man. He is flying right now.
There's Johnny trying to close in on Bobby Labonte for 3rd place. 10 car started 26th, Marty.
And he's rolling in the Allen. He's doing a good job coming up through the field. We've been talking all day about how the 10 car's been a little bit tight. They have finally gotten the car to Johnny's liking. It has not got the tight condition any longer. Comes to him, sticks with him on the longer runs. That's a big key. He's only 2 weeks removed from that big 2nd place finish at Martinsville. Could be another big one today. Maybe the first career win. Who knows?
Yeah, but here's the thing about that Martinsville race, Marty. They didn't consider that a big finish. They considered that a huge disappointment. Johnny said, you know, a couple of years ago, 2nd place was really cool. Now, 2nd place, well, he used a word that begins with S, and, you know,
he doesn't like.
Rhymes with a hockey puck.
Yeah.
He said it just wasn't good to finish 2nd anymore. He's at a point where he really needs to win one of these things. And if he can get close to the leaders at the end of the day, will the desperation factor figure in? Well, the frustration factor. We talked about that in the countdown to green.
And I know all about that frustration factor. You go 2 or 3 years and don't win in this business, and pretty soon you start handing out your resume to just about anybody for a job.
Benson 2.5 seconds behind Mark Martin now, trying to close in. Been an interesting week for this team. They left Atlanta, flew to Phoenix to test, then went from there to Talladega to test a 2003 car. Got back to Charlotte Thursday night, came right here to Rockingham to race.
And Tony Stewart goes by Rusty Wallace, and Tony Stewart has moved himself to the first car, a lap down to 19th. What a comeback by Stewart and this crew.
He was as far back as 32nd at one point. Just behind them, 7th and 8th place, Jeff Gordon starting to fade a little bit. Jeff Green trying to overtake him. Jeff Gordon and Rusty Wallace got into it a second ago.
I've been watching this, and Jeff has been doing everything he can to try to get around Rusty. What do you say, Matt? What's he saying?
Inside. Well, he wasn't very happy, Wally, as you can imagine. In fact, he said he is done. He does that to me one more time, he is done. I'm tired of him not being courteous. He's over a lap down.
Whoa, wow.
Now, when you talk about the race car, the 24, he's not happy with the race car either. They fixed the tight in the center. Now the car is just way too free up off the corner. He just can't get back to the gas when he wants to.
He was free getting in the corner there that one time when Rusty got in the back of him.
Jeff and Rusty have had their battles this year. Remember the bump and run when Jeff got the win away from Rusty at Bristol. Jeff Burton moving up again. 5th place for Mike Skinner.
And Johnny Benson moved up right behind Bobby Labonte, trying to go by on the outside.
Okay, now if I'm Kurt Busch or I'm Jimmy Fenning and I'm looking at this, I'm looking at telling Kurt, hey buddy, it's time to go.
Well, they're almost 2.5 seconds back, and Mark only needs to lead 7 more laps to lock up those bonus points.
Interesting to see what happens in 10 laps.
Yeah.
When those bonus points, all that's out of the way, can Kurt Busch run Mark down and win his 3rd race in a row?
He needs to start getting himself in position. If he can gain on Mark, he needs to. Now 24 got back in front of the 2.
NASCAR race control just calling out to the spotters of both cars to settle down.
I picture the 24. Think he gave him a little bumper there? Yes, he did. Hey, you're going to dish it out. You're going to have to be able to take it. Clunk. That's pretty good stuff there.
Now Gordon fighting with Jeff Green for 7th place. Remember, Jeff Green led so much early on in this thing, then had the lug nut fall off on a pit stop on the front tires and dropped him down.
But this is about when Jeff starts coming on. When he starts falling off, he starts making up a lot of ground.
Trouble is, he's got too far to go.
4 more laps until Mark Martin locks up the bonus points for leading the most laps. What happens between he and Kurt Busch then? We'll come back and find out after this on TNT. Six laps to go in the Pop Secret 400 at Rockingham. Mark Martin leads Kurt Busch. Johnny Benson, Bobby Labonte, and Jeff Burton round out the top 5. Martin has locked up the bonus points for leading the most laps today. Remember, we monitored the radio traffic earlier. Kurt said he'd be happy to ride behind Mark, while Mark tried to tidy up that business. He's done it now. Question is, can Kurt get back around him and reclaim the lead? Next question. Sorry, let me just finish this. Next question. Who can make the finish on fuel from their last pit stop? And is anybody going to try and stretch it?
Is anyone going to try to stretch it, or is someone going to try to stop halfway, change tires? Is it faster to stop and change tires, or is it faster to go without stopping?
And here comes Kurt Busch, is what you were starting to say.
That's what I was going to say. He is coming.
Is he going to make the bid for the lead?
I don't think Mark will hold him up any if he feels that Kurt's quicker.
Well,
he's quicker getting in, that's for sure.
Yeah. For the lead, Kurt Busch outside of Mark Martin. Remember, last time on the long run, Mark's car really fell off in speed at the end of that long run.
And Kurt Busch realizes right now, I think, that he has to go because the 10 car of Johnny Benson has gained. He's only a 7.5 behind these 2 cars.
All right, let's go through the field and get some updates on the leaders. Bill Weber.
Well, Kurt
Busch has moved back to the front. He's used to being there. He's won the last 2 races with his crew chief, Jimmy Benning. Did you let the 6 get those laps, Jimmy?
Well, we were a little bit tight right there, so, you know, 6 is doing really good. 97's going after another win. But we're a little tight, and we're pretty good right now.
Can you make it to the end on fuel?
It's going to be close, but we should be able to make it.
Okay, 97 in front, good on fuel. Dave Burns.
Bill, Mark Martin radioed in that the car is starting to lose the front end just a little bit. He's also been told by crew chief Ben Leslie, save gas if you can. We might be about 2 laps short. Marty?
Dave, I tell you, the guy they all need to watch out for, that's Johnny Benson. He's getting better the longer this run goes. He has cut 7/10 of a second off of this lead in just the last few moments. His team can definitely make it all the way, Bill.
Jeff Burton's car has gotten a little bit tight, but still a strong run for a guy that would love to get back to victory lane. Currently running 4th, trying to chase down his Roush teammate. Last radio transmission from Bobby Labonte. I couldn't turn this car in a 40-acre field. They've had good pit stops. They were a little embarrassed about the performance in the World Pit Crew competition yesterday and tried to make up for it today. They've had good stops on pit road, but Bobby Labonte having trouble turning the car. The 4 just got by him. Bobby thinking about going by him on the high side. Let's check on the 4, Dave.
Bill, this run for the 4 is a whole lot better. Mike Skinner thought he had a set of tires that wouldn't cooperate with him on the last set. This set is much better, and so far working pretty good. They didn't make any chassis adjustments on the last stop. Matt?
Jeff Gordon runs in the 7th position, 7.6 seconds back of leader Kurt Busch. Now trying to reel in the 18 of Bobby Labonte, looking for his 5th Rockingham victory. The car still loose up off the corner. Fuel-wise, Jay Wiles, the engine tuner, says they are good to go, Marty.
Well, Matt, with 48 laps to go, the guy that's coming again, Jeff Green, he's been so good on the long runs today. That's coming to fruition once again, but he's got too much ground to make up. He needs a caution. It's a gamble as to whether or not they can make it all the way on fuel. Dave?
Marty, they've been trying to loosen up Matt's race car all day long. That's Matt Kenseth. It's looser now, but it still won't turn. And as to fuel, well, we got a maybe and a big smile. Matt?
And at the other end of the top 10, running in the 10th positions, Ricky Craven 5th here in the spring. He was sliding the nose really bad on the last run when air pressure adjustment and wedge adjustment has helped the race car. But the problem, Bill, they cannot make it on fuel. 5 to 6 laps short.
Tony Stewart came in here as the championship leader, had to start in the 24th spot, has struggled all day. He's currently 19th, and you'd have to consider that good. A few laps ago, a very calm Tony Stewart came across the radio. This car's a little tight, but it's much, much better than it's been all day. Crew Chief Greg Zipadelli told him, we're not racing anybody right now. We're going to need a little help. But he's hopeful if he gets a caution, he can get back on the lead lap. And then you never know what's going to happen. But if the race ended now, which it's not going to do, you can see that Mark Martin has cut heavily into Tony Stewart's lead. He's in 2nd place. And here's the battle for 2nd place on the racetrack. Alan?
Mark might give up a couple of more points right here. Johnny Benson to the outside.
That's 5 points, not just 2nd spot that drove by, 5 points drove by.
45 laps to go. Will anybody have to stop for fuel? Will anybody make it to the finish? Will the caution flag come out and change the whole thing around? Kurt Busch trying to pull off the three-peat after wins at Martinsville and Atlanta. He's out in front of the Pop Secret 400 at Rockingham on TNT. NASCAR on TNT in Rockingham, North Carolina, where we move to the closing stages of today's race. 38 laps to go. And our NASCAR.com poll question from earlier today, your votes as to which had the largest impact on this season's race to the championship.
It looks like everyone is in agreement that Sterling Marlin not been able to compete for the last 7 races, out with that neck injury, suffered at the Kansas Speedway.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I would vote for that. Bill,
what did Weber say was number 1?
I don't recall you being in the majority side of the aisle there with that one, Bill.
Well, there was a discussion in a production meeting about what should actually be number 1, but I will take the heat because that was number 2. And the fact that Tony has been able to rebound so well coming into this race, especially after some of the off-track incidents that have been reported. He's been able to focus on racing. He's done extremely well since the incident at Indianapolis. The win at Watkins Glen really put him over the top. But Sterling Marlin not being able to run those last 7 races, when you consider how well Jamie McMurray's done, that the car went to victory lane at Charlotte, I think that if I got a chance, if I was living in Florida and I could vote twice, I might vote for that one this time around.
Hey, Bill, look on the racetrack. Man, we've got ourselves a great battle for the lead. Johnny Benson in the 10 and Kurt Busch in 97.
3 wide around the lap cars.
Wow.
Benson low, Kurt Busch high. Remember at Martinsville 2 weeks ago, Johnny got to Kurt Busch but couldn't pass him for the win. Wound up finishing second.
Now, Kurt Busch has no choice but go down the bottom of the racetrack to try to get by Jarrett. His car doesn't run that well down there, but it looks like he can make that pass on DJ.
He got loose there. He got loose in turn 2.
I don't think Johnny's been running the bottom either, though, so.
No, he hasn't. It looks like he runs pretty well in the middle of the racetrack.
And here comes Mark Martin back to join the chase.
Mark has been running the bottom.
Now, all these guys have said they can make it on fuel, and we talked during the commercial break. If there's cars out there in the top 10 that can't make it on fuel, they've got to stop. If I were them, Wally, I'd be stopping now.
I agree with you. I don't think Skinner's going to make it on fuel, so I'd be coming in and get those tires and gamble.
And gamble, and the caution flag would not come out, and I could use fresh tires to go out and make up some time.
Top 25 matchup on TBS Big Play Saturday, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. The Cyclones taking on K-State.
Marty, what are they saying about the 10 car? He's pretty fast right now.
Well, he's real fast, but one cool thing about what's going on with Johnny Benson, we talked about how he'd been running the high line for most of the day. Remember, his car has been tight all day long. That has now allowed him, since they've gotten it better, it is now free. It's just where he wants it to be. He can run low through 1 and 2, and he likes that middle line through 3 and 4. It's allowed him to find the fastest way around the track, not the best way to get his car to go around the track to agree with the chassis. There's a big difference there.
Yeah, well, that's true. And, you know, if you're going to pass Kurt, you're going to have to pass him low, because Kurt has been running that high line, and I don't think he's going to let anybody on the right side of his car right now.
Unless he gets in some traffic situation and he has no choice, just like the Hank Parker Jr. car. He goes in the corner, Hank's up high, Kurt's up high. Say, what's going to happen?
Oh, Hank got loose there.
Close call.
But if I'm Kurt, I'm telling my spotter, tell these guys I'm coming up on them, I want to pass them high. Have them move over to the low side. So the spotter should be busy right now for Kurt Busch.
He's not going to be, because Kurt hasn't said a word. Hasn't said a word since this battle began, Wally.
That spotter is Jeremy Brickhouse. That's a nephew of Richard Brickhouse that won the Talladega, the first Talladega 500 back in 1969.
There he is up on the roof.
Jeremy.
Watch your insurance.
Benson alongside for the race lead. Does he have enough to get by this time?
Looks like he does.
Yeah, Kurt's loose right now.
First time all day, Johnny Benson will go to the point. 27 laps to go when they come back. Benson started the day in 26th position. Can he become another first-time winner this 2002 season? We'll find out when we come back to Rockingham. Fuel mileage still in play as well. Don't go away. Going to be a dramatic finish. Looking at the race for the lead at Rockingham, North Carolina, as NASCAR on TNT brings you the closing stages of the Pop Secret 400. Johnny Benson in pursuit of his first NASCAR Winston Cup win, out in front of Mark Martin by 0.4 of a second. Mark having made the pass on Kurt Busch for the runner-up spot. There you see the two of them coming up on lap traffic.
And now Kurt Busch is falling back over 1.5 seconds behind these two cars. Kurt is struggling right now.
Yeah, it looks like Kurt's got a loose race car all of a sudden.
Couple things. Bill Elliott done for the day. Water pump failure on the 9 car. He's out. This came over Johnny Benson's radio a little bit ago about the fuel situation.
They got 28 more laps. Get you a rhythm. I want you to start floating it in. Save me a little bit of fuel. You're all clear.
Save me a little bit of fuel. In other words, we're awful close right, Marty.
That's exactly right, BP, and a very smart move on James Ince's part, his crew chief. He didn't mention a word about fuel until that transaction, and that took place just after Johnny took the lead. He didn't want him to say anything until he got the lead. He knew he could get there. Now he wants him to conserve fuel. You know, stay in the lead and conserve fuel at the same time, but Mark's catching him.
Mark Martin's hands busy inside his race car, driving with determination to try and catch and pass Johnny Benson. Here he comes, looking inside.
I don't think Johnny's really saving that much fuel right now.
That time Benson had to go in and pass those lap cars on the inside, and we've seen his favorite spot on the racetrack is up high, like he did that lap.
You watch Mark Martin trying to take that low line off of turn 4, and his car kind of breaks loose on him every time, but you see the driving hands, the gloves through the windshield. He's wrestling that car, trying to keep up and catch up. Talked about potential first-time winners at Rockingham. Mark Martin, one of those guys, the 3 that got their first ever Winston Cup win here. This race, 1989. Remember it well, it was Jack Roush's first victory. This season, Jack already has 8 wins for his Winston Cup teams, seeking a 9th today with Mark. Will the fuel hold up? And can he get by Benson?
Kevin Harvick going by in the 29 car. He stopped just a few laps ago.
Got Kyle Petty, Jeremy Mayfield, Jamie McMurray, Ryan Newman, Hank Parker Jr. and Harvick have all been on pit road for tires and fuel here late. John Andretti has dashed through the pits now. We feel pretty safe if these guys aren't stopping though.
Oh yeah,
they're gonna win it or run out trying.
You know, it would be if they didn't have a pit road speed limit, then you might try and stop and change at least 2 tires or change 4 tires and stop. If you got to stop for gas, you might as well do it. But since that 45-mile-per-hour speed limit is in effect on pit road, that slows down the stop so much.
Yeah.
You give up so much distance.
You do lose up so much time doing that.
Talk about some stories that have played out today. Mark Martin looking to make a huge gain in the championship. Came in trailing Tony Stewart by 146 today. Might have that lead as Stewart has struggled through the day, though Tony, by some of these guys pitting, is up to 15th place. If he's able to go to the finish on fuel, that could turn out to be a saving grace for him.
And this is a battle for position between Kenny Wallace and Tony Stewart.
Stewart trying to take that spot away. Not yet over Kenny Wallace. So Kenny in 16th, 15th rather. Tony back to 16th now. But again, if he's able to run to the finish and some more of these guys have to stop, the net damage on the day to Tony is going to be a fraction of what it might have been earlier. So this is big late in the race if he can go to the finish. All right, let's go back to the leaders. 10 laps to go when Johnny Benson comes back around next time. Mark Martin just that 2 car lengths behind him.
Let's listen as Mark gets off the corner. That last time we were riding with him, when he got off the corner, it sounded like he had a lot of wheel spin.
That's pretty good exit right there. Came in with a lot of room on Johnny Benson. I just think how many times that Mark climbed in a Valvoline car to drive. Years and years was a sponsor of his and Jack Roush's.
That's the key. It's the guy that's getting off the corner the best. That's what you want. You want your car to be able to drive off the corner without wheel spinning.
Oh, so close to getting the fender alongside. As Johnny works to lap Robbie Gordon, Martin's putting all kind of pressure on him. 9 to go. One seeking his first Winston Cup win, the other seeking his 2nd win of the season. And seeing if he can maximize his gain on Tony Stewart today.
Oh, Benson got in turn 3 a little bit too hard that time, but he got a grip up there and gained him a car length or 2 on Mark Martin.
Saw Mark kind of slide the back end when he was coming up off the corner that time.
Aaron working the throttle.
Think there's some folks in Grand Rapids, Michigan on the edge of the couch right now?
Boy, don't you know there are.
Johnny Benson. Go ahead, Ben.
Mark, well, I tell you what, he gets that great run off 4. Terrific run.
And they're getting off of 2 about even. Watch him here, off of 2, and you got Junior. He must have stopped for tires, obviously.
Yes, he did. Yep.
But it looks like Mark is getting off of 4 a little bit better. And here's 2 completely different lines that they're getting it done with.
Enough to get alongside. Martin's there. He's got the fender underneath him. 6 laps to go.
Oh, Mark goes down on the apron of the racetrack trying to avoid the 10 car, but he's still there. They're side by side off the now. Benson pulls out in front.
With the tires right now, it's going to be very difficult for Mark to stay side by side getting off of turn 2. He's going to have to really have a car on him in order to do that because there's no grip down there.
5. Oh, wow. Mark and John Andretti. Andretti just came off the pit road a minute ago. 5 to go. Johnny Benson, a second-generation racer from Grand Rapids, Michigan, grew up in his dad's garage watching John Benson Sr. build winning race cars for years.
See, John just took Mark's exit off the 2 away, and that hurt Mark probably a car lap or 2.
43 car just stopped on fresher tires. He goes through the leaders.
If you can't grip coming out of 2 up against the wall, you got to get out of the throttle, and that's where Mark lost a lot of time right there. Wheel spinning those tires off the 2. Mark is.
19 car Jeremy Mayfield. He was in on fresh tires. He'll come through the leaders pretty quickly.
And here again, these guys with 2 tires are taking the racetrack away from Mark and even Johnny, and it really could change the outcome of this race.
But it's not affecting Johnny as much because he's running that high line. These guys going by on the inside. He's comfortable on the outside. Mark isn't. He wants to run on the bottom of the racetrack.
Big game that time for Mark. Jeremy Mayfield got around Johnny. Coming to 2 laps to go. Will the fuel hold up for both of these drivers? Who will win?
Here you go, pal. Get looking again.
Johnny Benson in his 226th Winston Cup start, seeking victory number 1. Mark Martin looking for his 34th career win and a gain in the championship. He's right on the bumper as they come to the white flag.
And Benson's teammate, Kenny Schrader, is out of fuel on the apron.
White flag is up. Final lap at Rockingham. Fuel and the checkered flag. How's it going to play out? Benson protects the bottom in 1 and 2. Here comes Mark on the charge. So far, so good on fuel. Final corners ahead. Martin diving down low. One final charge off the last corner. It's not going to be enough. Johnny Benson is a NASCAR Winston Cup winner.
First thing he just thought was, finally.
Finally, yes. I thought this day would never come.
The 1996 Winston Cup Rookie of the Year. Finally, all these years later, excuse me, will get a trophy. Looks like Jeff Green ran out of gas, too, coming off the final corners.
And looking down the board here, looked like Skinner did make it on fuel.
And Tony Stewart finished 14th.
I know we stuck together. We can get this done. Awesome job, guys. Awesome job. That's pretty damn sweet. You see how it feels twice as good to knocking them out of the way, although we would have 2 by now.
Thinking back to Martinsville when he could have hit Kurt Busch and knocked him out of the way to win. Johnny Benson, his 226th race, his first victory after finishing second 3 times, and he's going to take out the grass. First-time winner this season, Johnny Benson, going to victory lane. We'll talk with he and the other top finishers when we come back to Rockingham after this. Well, our AutoTrader.com move of the race has to go to James Ince's calculator because they ran out of gas on the cool-down lap after the burnout. Johnny Benson had to get pushed to the winner's circle. Marty, how about that winning crew chief?
Not bad. James Inch, you got a good calculator, my friend. A big win. A long time coming for you guys, too.
I'll tell you what, it's been a real long time coming. These Valvoline guys did a great job. And, you know, Johnny could have won him a race a few weeks ago at Martinsville, and he wanted to win it the right way. So today he won it the right way. I'm awful proud of these guys. It's been a long wait, and it's not sunk in yet, but boys, nice ending to a long year for sure.
And it feels good. Go celebrate with your driver, Dave.
And Mark Martin is right here. Chased down Johnny Benson to the end, but couldn't quite get him. Tell us about trying to get around the 10 car.
That was fun. It was fun to be a contender. He didn't know it. I probably didn't have enough race car to beat him there, but he sure didn't know that, and he wanted to win bad. He was driving the heck out of his, and I was driving the fool out of mine, but we freed up a little bit on that last stop, and I wasn't counting. I called for it, kind of, and wasn't really counting on running 100 laps and used up the right rear, but those guys came and charged up, and I figured, well, we're in trouble, and I just kind of settled in third, and then all of a sudden they quit going away and started coming back to me, so I stood up in the seat and got to, slinging, my arms in there, and, we were able to make it interesting anyway. Johnny drove a great race. If he had made a mistake, it'd have cost him, but he didn't.
And he's definitely made it interesting in the point chase now, Alan.
Pontiac Wide Track Attack Team congratulates Johnny Benson in the number 10 Pontiac Grand Prix on his victory today. Pass it on. Let's pass it on to Bill Weber.
Johnny Benson's first race in the NASCAR Busch Series was at the Michigan Speedway, driving a car for Ernie Irvin. In the early laps, he ended up upside down, sliding down the backstretch. It's a memory that he has. It's not his favorite Busch memory, but it's the one that got him started in NASCAR. And today, Johnny Benson, for the first time, is a NASCAR Winston Cup winner. And as you can imagine, a lot of handshakes and hugs all around.
Yeah. Get it, baby. Get it. You earned it, baby. All the way. Get back, brother. Get in there. Get in there. Long time, man. Long time. JB, you're the heat, man.
And we offer our congratulations. Your first Winston Cup.
That's a long time coming. James Inson, the guys, but we were a terrible happy hour. James says, well, we're going to change truck arms, we're going to change springs, change shocks, change sway bar, and all the confidence in the world that it was going to be okay. I mean, well, sure, he said, after I come back hurt, he says, we're going to win 4 of these. And we've been close, just haven't been able to win it. And I was glad I was able to get by him without wrecking him, That's my biggest thing. I'm going to race everybody clean, and like racing with Kurt, Mark Martin, those guys just, man, they're great racers, and they run me clean, and hopefully I can do the same, and because I felt like I have all the time.
You were a teammate with Mark Martin. I know that means a lot to you to beat him in that fashion.
Well, the field, you got to beat the field. It's not any one driver. I mean, you can name the whole list, and it's great to be in front of him. Valvoline Pontiac was awesome. Oh, Mrs. Smith Spies, Xerox, I mean, everybody has just done a tremendous job. But I gotta say hi to Megan, one of the guys on the team here. Got her hair caught in the lift gate yesterday and got her pretty good. So hope she's doing good. Like to have seen you here. It'd have been a good one for you. Just everybody else. My mother-in-law, she's hurt, so everybody's been hurt this year. I've been taking time off, and hey, how long we got, man? Because I could talk all night.
I'm sure you could, but I just want you to talk about, you were on the bench twice this season with rib injuries. A lot of people were surprised when you came back, but you came back determined to get this team to victory lane.
I was determined before that. We just, it just haven't been our year this year. I mean, last year's a pretty good year. We were real optimistic coming in this year, feeling that we could run in top 5 in points, and it's been pretty dismal. But all the guys back at the shop, Hendrick Motors, they've been great with us all year, and just a great win. I mean, I can't tell you how happy I am for this crew. I mean, not so much myself winning, but these guys deserve it. They work hard, and a lot of guys that were with me at Bahari Racing, we've almost won something, and man, this won't sink in until tomorrow, I'm sure.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Johnny Benson in victory lane for the first time. Marty?
Bill, I've invaded the Roush posse with Jeff Burton and Kurt Busch. Let's talk about you. You finished third, and your car looked really good at the beginning of a run. Then what would happen at the end of the run?
It would run fairly smooth in the beginning. That caution with 100 to go just killed us. I knew we were done because on a 65-lap run, our car was good, and then a light switch came and just left us in the dark. We didn't get any forward bite after that. But a great day, trying to go for 3 in a row. It's just a great tribute to what this crew's got to offer for next year. It's going to be good.
All right, his teammate Jeff Burton over here. That was a nice run for you guys coming up to the front.
It was. We, you know, I think I've got to get better at qualifying. That really hurt us today. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, we're headed in the right direction. We've been chasing these guys all year, and now we can see them. And, you know, I feel like our team's headed in the right direction. We're running a lot better, even though 12th isn't great. You know, in Atlanta, that was a decent run for us. And I really feel like we're heading in the right direction. Real proud of everybody at the team. Real proud of Sitco and for sticking with us and supporting us through our changes. And, you know, Paul Andrews is doing a wonderful job. And more importantly, the people in the shop have really welcomed him. You know, the other crew chiefs, everybody at the Roush Racing has really opened their arms up and welcomed him. So I feel real good about next year, just like Kurt said.
And Alan, a very strong day for Roush Racing.
Mark Martin, Kurt Busch, Jeff Burton, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Championship standings with 2 races to go. The 146 lead advantage for Tony Stewart is now 87.
But it could have been a lot worse. Those guys really rallied today and made up a lot of spots.
Tony finishing 14th today. Matt Yoakum caught up with him moments ago. He was pretty frustrated.
Well, Tony Stewart finishes 14th, and what a comeback, Smoke. It could have been a lot bigger hit.
That's the worst race car I've ever driven in my life right there. That thing was a piece of shit.
Okay. Frustrated it is for Tony Stewart. But he can still finish 8th or better in the last 2 races and clinch the championship, even if Mark Martin wins both races.
I mean, yes, that's Wallace said just moment. He made a huge comeback. He was back 32nd, and he finished, what, 14th? That's huge. 18 positions.
Jimmy Johnson, on the other hand, terrible day. He lost 14 laps. The problems that he had that sent him behind the wall for a little while, and Johnson's going to finish this day in 37th place, as you still have yet to get to him looking at the finishing order. Here he comes. 37th for Jimmy Johnson today. Might have just taken him out of the championship. 214 points down.
It's definitely a 2-man race right now between Mark Martin and Tony Stewart.
Johnny Benson picks up the win, his first NASCAR Winston Cup Series victory. We've got more from Rockingham when we continue on TNT.
NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Rockingham, brought to you by Walmart. Always low prices, always. By the Cat Rental Store, where you can rent cat equipment and a whole lot more. By Miller Lite. And by Autotrader.com. Sell your car fast on the ultimate automotive classified site.
And it's across country now to Phoenix, Arizona. For coverage on NBC next weekend, Wally's in the Busch Series race on Saturday at 2 Eastern Time. Michael Waltrip joins BP and I in the booth. Next Sunday, we start at 1 Eastern Time with the NASCAR Pit Crew Championship. And then at 2 Eastern, Home Depot presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Phoenix, the flat mile oval in the desert, where Tony Stewart and Mark Martin will continue their championship fight.
And it's down to 80. Mark Martin has a chance. Going into this Sunday, he didn't have much of a chance, but all of a sudden, there is a chance.
Almost half Tony Stewart's lead today, though Tony came back for that 14th place finish. Mark led the most laps and finished 2nd. The popcorn's flying everywhere. Next on TNT, Heat on the East Coast, the Shawshank Redemption on the West Coast. Been a long time coming. Johnny Benson has been hanging on the edge of his first win for so long, since 1996, when he first came on the Winston Tour. But the moment is here today at Rockingham, as Benson has won the Pop Secret 400, his first Winston Cup victory.